my man, Charlie, the commish, as you know him from the CMS Esports and STEM League. My name is Bearlight, excited to bring you this action with the gang and talk some CMS Esports Rocket League, because we have our final week of the season, and this will determine a lot of things. Number one, do you have a chance to make the playoff land? Number two, do you have a chance to make the playoffs at all? Number three, where do you stand within the list itself? So we're going to get into implications right now, but before we do, I want to ask you guys, how are you feeling tonight this last week? Charlie, I'll start with you.
Oh, I mean, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling excited to see how this all goes. We're going to be figuring out not just the Rocket League playoffs, but also STEM.
Yeah, that's right.
So, you know, and so for Rocket League, we've got top 12 teams have a chance. Top 4 teams get a bye. And so the top 4 teams after tonight will actually be automatically qualified for the LAN. They'll be playing in person. We're going to be announcing the venue tomorrow as well. And then teams 5 through 12, they've still got a chance. They're in the playoffs. They're going to play one game first, and then the winners of those will qualify. For STEM, 8 game dev teams, 8 app dev teams are going to make it. So unfortunately, a couple of the STEM team seasons in tonight as well. So
got it. Well, when we talk Rocket League portion, only one team is guaranteed that top dog prize, which is that bye guaranteed, and that's Ardrical. And that goes without saying. Again, like we saw last week, they were able to take down JT Williams, their toughest competition, and always has been. That rivalry is brewing, guys. And another best of 5 that goes the distance, and Ardrical actually came back from a 2-1 deficit there, and were able to finish it out as well. So they've got that guaranteed bye coming in.
There's so many teams that have had Ardrical on the ropes in the last season and a half. Nobody's finished the deal since very first week of season 0. So this team is tough to beat. I know you've gotten to watch them a couple times, Monkey Man. What are your thoughts?
It's a really good squad. It's one of those kinds of squads that when they know how to run a league, they pretty much run it at will. And it's 7-0, knowing how to come back. That was their final kind of test as well. Maybe not the final because, you know, these kids are running their finals when it comes to high school anyway. But when they get to that LAN, they're going to have been prepared. I like dirty records. And by that, I mean that you either take a loss or have to make a comeback. And because they did that from a 2-1 deficit, that proves to me that they can be able to go the distance and be able to put down even their most stringent of competition. That's really cool. And of course, those guys just know how to hit the dang ball. So I still believe in the Ginger Ace. Look, I want Olympic to have a chance at that top 4 because, I mean, I may be a little biased. I don't know. But that top 4 is going to be very tight-knit, especially 2 through 4 after Ardrical is just basically waiting for who's going to be anywhere near them.
So, like your sunglasses are showing us, is your heart in it for Olympic there, then?
Yeah, a little bit. At least a little bit. I do that heart shape like terrible. Look, this is arthritis. Okay, so don't look at this.
Old man fingers you got going on over there. Not to age you or anything like that.
Ardrical has Huff, a team that's surged up the leaderboard. They've actually won 6 straight games, I believe. They're coming in at 6-1. So Huff, not a team, you know, that's our 8 o'clock game.
Yep.
Not a team that necessarily we've been spending a lot of air time on trying, but they've got a chance. They win. They're in the bye too. Not to jump ahead to the next section, but Ardrical knows they're in the LAN.
Yep.
Do they take their foot off the rocket-powered gas?
Boost.
This season or for this last game, but we'll see. So that's our 8 o'clock. Ardrical already in. Huff win and they're in a bye. Huff's in the playoffs no matter what, but they can get into that bye if they win, but they have to win to have a chance.
And that's against Ardrical. I mean, good luck. You have Ghost Adapt, though, and this team's been, like you mentioned, positively trending, but it's just a matter of willpower at this point, and to go up against the hardest team is not ideal. However, at least you're rolling into it hot. Does that make the difference, Monkey Man, just having that momentum rolling into the final week?
Doing some crazy things tonight.
Yeah, and across the pitch there for Archer Kell, the same thing could be said about Creeper, right? An individual that stepped up large ways last week against JT Williams when you need him to step up the most, and he was there, he was present, he was the one creating plays, and typically he's been considered that number 3 that's filling in right now, not quite at the level of the rest of the team, you know, when we talk about talent, and yet he had a huge match. But again, you could say the same thing. He needs to perform yet again, and also needs Barris and Rux to really gather around him and lift him up as well and trust him as part of that rotation. Otherwise, you're right, they could sleep and Huff could easily take it.
Yeah, this is going to be a team that I think is going to be really cool. I think it'll be a really dangerous match tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, so then we got the next category is teams that they're in the playoffs, great, but can they get automatically into the in-person LAN? That means they got to get that bye, which means they've got to win tonight. What teams we got there, Baron?
Man, we have quite the list here. We're looking at here. I mean, with Mallard Creek coming in and, you know, it's kind of surprising us with a few wins. They did some big things. South Mech as well with Skimmit, and the rest of that squad's been stepping up too. I mean, Peyton's been really good and strong in that way too. So South Mech, a decent shot, has been giving those top teams really a run for their money with a big win over Olympic as well, which pushed them back down to 5-2. So, I mean, South Mech also on the rise. Their 2 losses come to the top 2 teams in the league, so that is definitely a team to look out for as well. And then Palisades, Garinger, and Rocky River, surprisingly up there. I mean, they've been hanging around as well, making a push and a name for themselves.
Yeah, Rocky's won 5 in a row, so it's real congested up here at the top. We've got 8 teams that have a chance at the bye. Now, the way that this is going to work as far as the scheduling goes is we've tried to even everything out. So teams like Huff and Mallard Creek, no disrespect to anybody, they've been playing in the North Division, some weaker teams there. So now they get their chance, unlike Olympic or South Mech, who've already played the top teams in the league. Huff and Mallard Creek haven't. So we already mentioned Huff's playing Audrey Kell, Mallard Creek's playing JT Williams. So if they're going to get that bye, they are going to freaking earn it. That's our 8:45 game is the Mallard Creek JT Williams game. So again, but Mallard Creek can come out of basically nowhere. They've won 4 straight games. They could be sitting pretty looking at a bye, and JT Williams, after winning the first 6 games of the season, could be having to play their way into the playoffs. And that's just how all this works. You got to finish strong. So those teams that need to win to get the bye, every team from 2 to 9 there. JT Williams, Olympic, Mallard Creek, South, Palisades, Garinger, Rocky River. Some of those teams, you know, if you're at 7, 8, or 9, you need a little bit of help as well. You need some other teams to lose. But it's all up to play.
Look at those teams, too. I mean, Mallard Creek, 4 wins in a row. South Mech, 5 wins in a row. You mentioned Rocky River. They're at 5 wins in a row, too. They had those slow starts, and they're right on that border. Now, Hill Monkey Man, I have to say that South Mech is going to be the team that I have eyes on, because not only are they hot, like you mentioned, coming in, and that momentum and that mentality coming in is important, but also they have talent behind that as well. So that could be a big factor, too. Do you see South Mech with the best chance to maybe push forward and get in?
No chance. No chance. Rocky River Ravens. I have been standing these kids ever since I saw them 3 weeks ago. The Rocky River Ravens have so much momentum. They're flying high. Look, on the opposite stream with Mr. Bepic and I, we've been taking absolute shots whenever it comes to some of these teams. And this is one of them that has come in. They have been so hot. No one's ready for the Ravens, okay? This team is going to be fantastic to watch, and I think they are so ready to get that 6th win in a row and maybe even get a seat at the table of the top 4.
Dan, do you agree with that, Charlie? That's a
hot takes. Spicy over here. I like it. Go Ravens.
Yeah, it's spicy. You have the fire Ravens apparently, and firing away just like that game that they've created as well, where you shoot at Ardrikel basically the entire time.
That's true.
So they're after it, right? They're after the best teams in the league, and they're going to try and take them on and hopefully have some success. And land is definitely in the question, but we'll see if they can push through and actually make it to that point. So Rocky River potentially there. The next category we have in the playoffs, but they cannot get a bye. So that means injury for Independence and Philip O'Berry. They're already in, which is good news. Obviously, they are going to have some work to do. Regardless of what happens, they're still going to have to win a game. And against some pretty stellar teams, like a South Mech, like a Rocky River High, in order to get to that next level. And we've seen Philip O'Berry. We know that they can perform, and Independence is the same as well. But it's all about consistency at this point to make sure they do, in fact, have a spot for the LAN.
And we've got Philip O'Berry on our stream at 7:15. They're facing up against Providence. Providence is in a do-or-die situation.
Yeah.
Providence either wins or they're out. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Everything's on the line. We saw all over on the Valorant stream yesterday 2 teams win in do-or-die situations, pulling off massive upsets. We'll see. We had teams beating teams ranked way above them just to get into the playoffs. I'm expecting to see something like that with the Rocket League too, because we actually have some teams. You're looking, if we pull up the standings real quick on the second page, look at these teams: Butler, College of Engineering, East Meck, Myers Park. They are last chance saloon right now. We should mention on this that Myers Park actually did win a game that happened after our stream, so they're actually 3-4. But all 4 of these teams have to win, and they need some teams ahead of them to lose to even have a chance. So it'll be really interesting to see. I mean, if you're 2-5 today, best chance scenario is you finish 3-5. You're gonna need every team that's ahead of you to lose. So pretty remote chances for East Mex, Seek, and Butler, but they got to go out there and do their best regardless.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's a hidden positive for Providence, who controls their own destiny at this point. You win, you're in, right? And it won't be an easy one for sure, because Philippa Berry also in that same realm, right, of record number 1, but also in talent as we've seen it so far this season, and the rosters that they bring in. So I think it's very balanced for them, and it's a realistic opportunity that they can get into the playoffs just by winning, and that's super exciting. Well, let's go ahead and head into our national anthem so we can get things started. So please rise and remove your caps wherever you are, and let's honor America with the playing of our national anthem. And so it is time for some Rocket League. I still have my sunglasses on, I just realized that. Hey, lucky man, we get into our first match, so we're going to take it to the rosters, see who we have lined up to kick off this stream here on this channel. The main channel is what we have not called it anymore, so I should probably adjust that too. But it is going to be North Mac facing off with West Charlotte. Obviously, these teams have had a little bit of struggles earlier in the season, but now's their chance to at least build onto something here for next season.
What a way to try and build, because you come to the end of it, you know that there's nothing left except a little bit of pride, glory, and just some good old-fashioned video gaming. If there's anyone that I love between these 6 players that has just been never say die, never give up, never surrender, it's one Mute Frog. Frog over there with North Mech. I love seeing them just consistently get out, win those challenges, when they can be able to get some of that pace. But this is going to be a tough matchup. Obviously, you get to the end of a regular season without playoffs, but this is your playoff. This is something that you can make a statement of good positive vibes going on to the next time.
No doubt, and a piece of that exists in my heart, some love for West Charlotte, because this is a team I used to coach in Season 0, and so I know these players, I know that they've been trying to grow, and I know that they have the talents level as well. They have a couple of diamonds on this team, right? So they sit at 1-6, a little bit, pulled back, it seems, like their season hasn't quite worked out. They had between net issues, I'm talking internet issues, I'm talking a bit of trying to show up, not being able to schedule conflicts, things like that. But if this team is in full power, I mean, this team has a solid shot to take on North Mech. So excited to see them take on one Mute Frog, where I'm with you. I think he's got heart, just like West Charlotte as well.
Yeah, whenever we talk about like teams being able to progress, of course, programs and high schools and even collegiate going into these, you see those players, those students that are putting forth that kind of effort, and that's what you drive behind, and you want everyone to rally around. And of course, coaches recognize that from a regular sporting point of view as well as esports, and be able to just completely get players and people just to be able to support each other, which is really, really cool. And look, I got to see a 2v2 last week. It was the coach and a player, and North Mech was involved in that. And one Mute Frog, he was winning some big fights. So if he can run alongside some Champ 1 to 3 coaching and get some wins in 2v2, I expect at least a few shots coming to this 3v3. And this is just going to be a fun fight.
Yeah, get loud, one Mute Frog. Oh, ironic. Stream Blue continues. Let's head into game number 1 now of North Mech facing off with West Charlotte and see who actually comes out on top. See which of these teams says we're going to ditch the mindset of a losing season and we're going to get some positive vibes going. And right off the bat, you'll see Gamer Mikkel to push it back towards Dark Space, and West Charlotte looking to strike first. And sure enough, they're able to with a 1-0 lead.
I like that situation where you had the one player just hanging out in the box, just trying to block everyone out. I believe that was it was Dark Space, but good shot on target, just making sure it will go through. So early challenge, early wins, and it'll be North Mech on top. West Charlotte. So I didn't know what's your big impression? You got to be a coach in the previous season. How does it feel, and how do players kind of respond to that?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where, you know, with the CMS Esports League in Season 0, a brand new concept. But, you know, as time went on and we get into practice, right, whether it be just training packs because you need some practice mechanically, or if you're in free play, you know, practicing rotations, getting into it, some VOD review as well. But a lot of the players did accept it over time, and as you can tell, it's definitely been helping them improve as well. Dark Space, one of those individuals who's been around since the beginning and has really shown up skill-wise, and KUB actually gets the first call that I've seen this year. It was a big part of Season 0 for West Charlotte when they were building as a junior varsity team, so love to see him out there as well and being able to contribute in the way that I know he can, as he is another one of those diamonds or platinum level players right on that borderline that can really bring a team from good to great.
And just so you guys are aware, there's a little bit of a backwardsness. So if you see North Mech and Orange is actually equal but opposite, in Orange is West Charlotte, and North Mech is on the other side. So in case you were confused, if maybe there's a bit of traitor nonsense going on, well, I guess there is graphically. But Gamer Mike is able to find their second goal of the 3, and that is just tons of upfield pressure. We get to see some of that collective you were talking about, and it's about how you receive, how you kind of digest all the information that then otherwise turns into success that we've seen so far in this first game.
It is translated to offense. This team is very defensive-minded, and, you know, that's never quite a bad thing, you know, when you start off the game of Rocket League. What I see, you know, from players who are relatively new to the game is quite clearly an ability to chase, or, you know, a habit of chasing, rather, where you just wanted to make sure that you can get a touch on the ball to begin with. With this West Charlotte team, typically what you'll see is more patience in striking when you need to, and they almost did yet again here at this 3-0 count.
If there's anything that I remember from my early days of Rocket League, I may not have just stayed in the goal, but I was definitely very defensive. I was like, I'm so good on defense, but because I was terrible at offense. That's exactly how that translated for me. But eventually it became, hey, I need to go out. I need to be leveling out some type of confidence to try. And it's because you can't just sit on the safety net thinking that that's the only way that this is going to be played. No, you're taking some of these attempts. Great back pass. So that's going to be a kick up. KUB back over to Dark Space. And we got 4 for West Charlotte. Your gang over there looking good.
Yeah, they've really stepped up, and it's because, like I mentioned, it helps when your schedule is freed up and you have the ability to attend games. I think the biggest problem for West Charlotte was the lack of depth, right? When schedule conflicts were to occur, you wouldn't have anybody to follow up, right? And so you'd have to run 2-on-2 games or 2v3 games, which is never where you want to be. And now that you see all these players have the availability, have the ability to attend, like KUB, as he wasn't able to start off this season because of other obligations. So when you have the attendance there and you're able to put in the time and effort, you're going to see results. And that's what West Charlotte has seen against North Mech early in this game number 1.
Yeah, that'll be cool to see if, depending on what grade they're in, if they can be able to extend not just the Rocket League, but also do a bit of extra STEM. So, bomb from downtown as well, as this continues to be West Charlotte, just kind of pouring it on. And, it's one of those things, too, that, these guys are doing so many things, extracurricular activities, this being one of them. Sometimes you do other sports. Sometimes you're in band. I remember having to juggle working out, doing football, doing band, and then, pretending that I'm going to still be able to get straight A's in AP classes. There's a lot of pressure for these students.
I absolutely need to see pictures of you as the band geek in high school, and we'll definitely reconvene on that later. It's KUB able to put one in. KUB is one of those individuals for West Charlotte as well who is just a go-getter, right between classes, constantly working on grades, but also a high-class swimmer apparently in the area. So swims competitively, so very in shape, right? Unlike myself, who's here in the booth. So, you can respect that kind of energy coming from a player, and you can tell that when he's on the game of Rocket League and able to focus on that, it translates there too.
It really does. Don't just pretend that I'm not already on Facebook looking for my band pictures. And look, we're gonna get some. All right, another one we'll go through. And yeah, you have look. Some of these guys are becoming ultra ripped. I pretended that I could in high school. I drank too many Mountain Dew, so teeth rotted out. I was basically having dentures by the time I was like 16, but some of these guys actually excel and find success in some of this that they get to kind of divulge and get into. But right now, West Charlotte looking fantastic, as they've been able to kind of just keep North Meg really supplanted on their own back line, continuing to just pour it on. Less than 2 minutes to go, though, and I mean, you got to carry a lot of this momentum. Look at the mind games out of Dark Phoenix, though. They were a wall on that shot.
It really was, and it was intentionally on that post because they knew the shot. There was only a limited amount of options for that shot to come from and where it was going. So Dark Phoenix just stood in that one spot and said, hey, I have a sometimes I have trouble up in the air, but if you try to get a shot down on the ground, forget about it. I'm going to cover it up. That being said, West Charlotte running away. I mean, 9-0 right now, and we talk about game etiquette, right, and being able to cut it off. For West Charlotte, though, they haven't won too many games this season, so they're like, let's live it up. Let's take a victory lap right now, and the last thing you want to do is try to pull back a little bit on your gameplay and then watch as North Meg comes out and does work.
Yeah, I mean, you've had it done unto you, and Rocket League definitely is about paying it forward. So we've seen that a little bit too often. But yeah, it's that try to get to double digits. Often these players don't get the opportunity to even be upfield, let alone be scoring this many. And then when you have some of your A team hanging around with you, then you're looking for even more. But the challenges are coming out as North Mac just simply is not going to take any of this kindly. With less than a minute to go, Dark Phoenix is trying to get quick with it. Dark Space really. Dark Space versus Dark Phoenix. Does Dark Phoenix come from a dark space? As we do find 10.
It definitely does. As, an individual who works for the Phoenix, I can say firsthand that is the case. KUB, back to work. They got the double-digit points. Now is the time to chill out, right? So for West Charlotte, hopefully they'll take that into consideration. But I want to go back to the energy levels that I talk about West Charlotte. So I had the unique opportunity to host a live tryout. I know Charlie was there as well on the campus of West Charlotte during their lunchtime. And it was popping off. I mean,
wow.
I don't know if it was just dance day or what, but like they had a full boombox, like 90s style out there, and just cranking music and just got invited to dance like 12 times. Like everybody was just involved, and it was like a dance party in the middle of lunch. So the culture there at West Charlotte was something that I've never seen and got to experience during my high school days, and I just wanted to bring that up because I absolutely love it. And yeah, you can see that they're a passionate bunch.
Yeah, I mean that. Now wait, when you say dance day, are we talking about like they picked like they're like this is back to the 80s or 90s and you wear like all the crazy clothes, or did everyone suddenly have like a mum on like their shirt and it was prom? Like which you gotta define dance day for me.
No, you're right, because we can't conjure it up in it. Like I can't even describe it because I'm so old. It was actually just like tunes like from today.
Okay.
Dude,
okay.
from today, dude. Who am I? Oh
Tunes
my
from
God,
today.
Tunes from today on the CMS Esports League run. No, seriously though, it was such a cool experience, and I can't wait to do that for the other schools too. Hopefully they can adopt that and have tryouts every year, so I can come experience the culture at your high school. I think I'm giving them an unfair advantage because I was actually there to experience it. Right? Maybe other high schools are doing that too, but I thought that was super cool.
I think the most fun thing that we did, what did we run around and do? Oh my goodness. I think we had like people in wagons. I don't think the teachers knew about this, but we actually just put people in wagons and we raced around the math hallway, which any of you out there, if you're still in high school, you know the math hallway is always the worst hallway. And we subtracted quite a few kids because we were trying to whip those things around. Yeah, it wasn't really about culture. It was about breaking a lot of rules. But either way, we were able to get that done. It was a very weird high school experience. But otherwise, you know, I'm glad that they're able to have that kind of culture, especially planned around the faculty, because when you are able to not just have fun things, but be supported by the staff, that's such a game changer, because so much of it often is not. And seeing especially this kind of program as it is, as you got to experience, it's so cool.
I'm telling you, there's the teachers dancing too. So yeah, absolutely. The final words on that. Yeah, it was such a cool experience. Got to experience it firsthand. I love to see it, and yeah, we'll go into game number 2 now. Unless we want to do the sim portion first. No, we go game 2. Why not? We're back in it. Let's jump into it and see if North Mech can bounce back and show a little bit of their own style. As that's not a good start. Dark Phoenix was not ready for that one. Kickoff will just kind of cream up him, and we're getting the same vibes as we got in game number 1.
Oh, it's a big pinch too. Is it just kind of, oh, well, all right. I'm just straight from the kind of just sitting position.
Yeah.
So, you know, what a way to happen. I'm going to send you in our chat. I found a picture.
Let's go.
A tiny picture though, very small, because it was from my Razer cell phone.
Oh,
like
my.
so small, but it's me with a bass. I played for like a minute.
Oh, you
just
played this? Nice. Me too.
I played for like a minute. Like I don't know any of it now, but otherwise it was a trombone. So, but inside the first minutes of play, West Charlotte has continued to just reign supreme and have that dominance. And you know they want to be able to have some of this gameplay that they can, you know, present with their program. I honestly, if you had, like you talked about, all their personnel, all their players throughout the entirety of the season, you could see them really vying into maybe a top 12 situation, maybe around that 13-14 mark.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. For me, it's just West Charlotte's looking to improve. They've done it in every aspect, and even in their sim portion, they've been working on that. That's unfortunate, as they are able to bail themselves out, though. Almost ran into trouble there too. But I mean, I do have to say, though, Monkey Man, it's on my brain. West Charlotte loves the fact that they're able to win in 1080p versus the 2p that you just sent me.
I told you that was such a tiny resolution. Look, camera phones were not as good then in the early 2000s, which makes me realize just how old this is, as they are now. Big challenge. KUB is able to find it. Look, you want one from the band room? Look, I was afraid of pictures back in the day. That's me and my boy Alfred right there. Look at all the band instruments in the back.
It's so cool. Alfred is definitely loving it. Also, it looks like a gel cell versus actual instrument storage, but we'll digress. We'll talk about this later. Right now, West Charlotte taking it to North Mech right now. As it'll be Dark Space back out. The challenge, not quite there. As Dark Space will be able to transition that one too. I mean, they look like a team that's been established. This looks like a team that could push into playoff scenarios. Unfortunately, not this season because they have been mathematically eliminated. However, in the future, this is definitely a team to look out for in building because I think they're a young team as well.
Yeah, I was about to ask, do we have the intel for some of these players for West Charlotte, like what grades they're in? Do we expect them to maybe be in the next season? I didn't know how in-depth of analysis, or I guess on-the-field analysis that we had for maybe the potential of seeing these exact same trio together.
For Dark Space, we will not be able to see him next year as he is a senior. However, I believe KUB is in the junior range, if I'm not mistaken. Saab, who we've seen in the past as well, perform really well up towards that platinum diamond level, like we mentioned, is a freshman. So lots of years ahead. So that's definitely a player that you can build your team around. And I'm sure there's individuals at West Charlotte who are still waiting to get their call up to the varsity team, because I know there was a lot of people listed on that Rocket League registration that they're looking to build, and that's a player that you absolutely can build around.
That's very true, and we can continue to see them just putting pressure on and taking the reps. I mean, you look at what you got to get done or what you need to do to put a team away, and 3 right now seems to already be that number, and you saw them be relentless, but it's continuously putting forth your best effort in a way that's, both sportsmen will like, but also just hitting the mechanics. Because seeing this from Dark Space, that's something I want to see all the time. It's a tiny little mechanic flip, but it's adjustment on the fly to secure a goal. That's something that's very much missing from some of these lower 6 teams, and that's something that could be the difference maker in future competitions.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, just a little bit of effort that you put in that can make all the difference. And sometimes we say little. Hard work is obviously how you get there. Grinding hours is how you get good at Rocket League. There's no doubt about it that you need to put in the time and effort, but there are little adjustments you can make once you get to a certain point. And so I think you're right. If they find those little things, they can definitely make the difference. For me, One Mute Frog, we see him as a sophomore as well. So One Mute Frog will also be with North Mech next season as well.
Okay, all right. And Frog has been doing fantastic. Honestly, just kind of following the example of his coach and being able to play around these players. It is about consistency on some of these grabs, and that's a great takeaway. I mean, you see Frog sprinting from post to post just to get an offensive effort away from West Charlotte. They know they've been buried deep, but they do not give up on it. Challenging into the corner, and that's going to be a demo onto Dark Phoenix, and a clear found by Frog. Gets the midfield boost, and now is looking for a bump. Will have to rotate away, but that's a good succession of effort right there that's allowed North back to get down the field.
Yeah, and have some offensive possession time, which is not very common in this match, at least. So they're going to try to amp that up, get a little bit more going. As One Mute Frog is waiting here for it. Good patience too to fake out to the defender, as Dark Space got a little bit antsy, looked to get in his face, but it was One Mute Frog that was able to kind of work around him temporarily, as we see Hail Monkey Man with the cat. Oh, sorry, that was my other screen.
It's a great cat. I don't know where that cat went to. Look, you asked for high school me. I can't find me in the back. There was actually a time that I was marching in my football uniform, because I did both. So I'll find one. Okay, surely my mom has one. Looking for another. Continue to just pour it on. That's 15 in a row, I believe, if my math hasn't failed me, and I don't have Alzheimer's. So you are in North Mech's shoes. Let's kind of switch things around. We've seen success right now for West Charlotte. You've talked about coaching with them. North Mech, you see this one right now. How do you inspire students to really, grab hold and be like, you know what, come to this program? Obviously, the success wasn't found just yet, but we can be able to build, because obviously, like a great cartoon once told me, being bad at something is the first step to being good at something. And that, good first steps are being taken right now.
That's right. You have to fail before you can find any kind of success, right? It's all about adjusting and getting to a place where you can compete. And for me, you have to just find, people who want to be in the program first, right? And I think they've done that with these players who have shown up on a pretty regular basis, for the most part. And when they're available, they're definitely on the pitch, and they've proven that they want to be a part of this esports team. But now you have to reach outside. And if we're talking Rocket League specifically, it doesn't have to be a player that plays Rocket League quite yet, right? If you're pretty talented in esports to some degree, and even in another title, that can transition to other games. We've seen that happen before. So you have to just build a community of people who want to be a part of something in esports, and then eventually that's how you'll attract, talent that maybe you didn't even know existed within your own school's walls.
Yeah, that's very true. Hey, Mario Kart, Gran Turismo, mowing the lawn, all these translate into really good gameplay in some way, shape, or form. So just get out there, have some fun. It could be literally anything. Your craziest friend may be able to just kind of come out there and help you guys out. But we go to game number 3, and this one is match point available for West Charlotte. North Mech, they're looking for answers. They're looking for ways to evolve. And obviously, like you said, there's just so much potential that has to be crafted, molded, and inspired. And that also comes from kind of the coaches, the staff, and just the programs overall from the school, which we've seen in surplus this season be really good for these kids.
It has been a good compliment to the gameplay you see is a category of learning new things that also match up in the same realm of esports, aka creating an app, right? Creating the STEM portion is so important, whether you want to program or if you want to learn the ins and outs of the esports space and beyond, right? That's how you're going to land a job in the future. And so I love the fact that that's also a part and incorporated into this esports league and continuously keeps your mind on something else. If the games don't go quite right, well, how do I make my app even better? How do I make the game that I'm creating even better as well? So you always have something going and you always have something to look forward to in this league. It's something that's unique to this league and something I love seeing.
I love seeing KUB turn into a pinball. That was definitely that moment too. But you're definitely correct. And right now, we've seen it was at least for a good nearly 80 seconds a scoreless venture. But West Charlotte does get some of that copyright pressure that they've been able to manhandle. One Mute Frog with a backflip. They were trying to just kind of get that layback twist. Couldn't receive it in time. And so we're getting towards the end of this series, the midway mark at least of the midway of a best of 5, and the sprint down KUB to the sidewall. And West Charlotte, I cannot wait to see what they do going into that next season with STEM as well as their esports squad.
Yeah, both sides, right? And it's going to take some improvement on both ends. You can see the Rocket League side has started to do that, and the STEM side they're still working on as well. I can say that for both of these programs, so as one side grows, it'll make it even more inspiring for the other side to grow as well. But you have to have one of those take off, and for West Charlotte, this is a good sign that the Rocket League team is starting to do that. So props to them for coming out here and taking full advantage of this North Mech team. Although North Mech has turned it around defensively, hasn't let too many goals go in lately. To West Charlotte's kind of holding back. You can still see them poke through with some pretty big moments. I mean, KUB must have been pretty mad getting bounced around like a pinball because the velocity he had on that last shot was unreal.
Yeah, he put some absolute heat behind it. But sometimes you have to be slapped around to be inspired. So, yeah. Or maybe that was just a weird quote that my coach used to say. I don't know. Football's a strange sport. Don't get paralyzed, kids. Pass away my midway mark of game 3. A shot on target, and look at us.
Let's go.
We have a tied game. One Mute Frog getting loud.
And the individual you called out prior to this match, and he shows up. No coincidence. Hail Monkey Man, in fact, the most incredible caster.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Get that back after the socials post that you had. Yeah. Let's go. North Mech back in this one. Love seeing them have a little bit of success, especially when your defense starts cranking it up. We said 2 teams, and working in tandem, and North Mech was able to pull out that 1 goal. Almost was able to make it 2-1, but instead West Charlotte, well, they had the chance to do it, but Dark Space just couldn't get around it.
Trying to adjust and do something a little bit more complicated, so keeping this one as close as they feel like right now. And Dark Space is in a situation where they could get challenged. One Mute Frog just kind of beamed it straight into their position. Everyone wanting to fly on by. This is the cheese touch put on the backside of this Rocket League ball, and Mikel is looking for anyone to dish it out to. But West Charlotte's kind of enjoying the ride and enjoying the vibe of what could potentially be only their second ever series win for this entire season. North Mech is at least sticking with them. We've got the last 80 seconds to go. The first 80 seconds had our first goal. Will the last 80 have it as well?
It's a cross off that back wall. The opportunity, KUB could have gotten around that. It was tapped away by a teammate, but it looked like they were lining up for a great chance. Unfortunately, that was not the case, as it did fall away. In North Mech now will look to press, but they weren't able to get that touch. KUB to the sidewall instead. And West Charlotte is kind of got in their own heads. It seems like they were able to take games 1 and 2 pretty easily. And now when they started messing around, you see a little bit of the gameplay start to slide, but maybe not too much, as that is an open opportunity for KUB. But it looks like West Charlotte is allergic to taking a shot right now.
They want to kind of milk all these seconds, really take them off the clock, see how much time they can really kind of press, and okay, the hubris will go with to the fall. One Mute Frog is able to win this challenge, and KUB was just looking for control, ends up bouncing on his forehead, and Frog just never gives up.
Yeah, he continued in the play, and that's one of the things you mentioned about him, that he's always going to be working coast to coast. Doesn't matter if you're a left, right, front, center. He is trying to make a big play and constantly in your face. And so I think West Charlotte is very close to learning a lesson here. That is, if you mess around too much, you might have some trouble. But it's North Mech having trouble here with that opportunity. West Charlotte able to tie it too.
Dark Space just taking a preparatory backflip when it was dimed up to KUB. The allergies have been taken care of. It's 2-2 with 22 seconds to go. And just sadly, it's not in game 2 for the full triplicate of 2s. That'd be awesome. But for right now, West Charlotte does have a 2-0 in the series. They're looking to make it 3 and get their first sweep in this season. And they're trying to bar it up right against North Mech. But with seconds remaining, we may see everyone just holding hands all the way up into a big final shot. The final bit of offense and possession does go to West Charlotte. It is airborne. It's going to be very tough for them to dig out underneath it as they sent the house. But we find overtime, and this one could go either way.
Really can, especially the way North Mech has stepped it up recently. I think West Charlotte has the best opportunities, but they're getting way too fancy. I mean, this is a team that I feel like needs to know that they're at 1-6. I feel like they're going to eventually break through. I don't think that's the issue, but the last thing you want to do is mess around and take a loss here when we could have just closed out the season with a breakaway in a score like we just saw there from KUB, who does in fact get the sweep here for West Charlotte.
KUB, just patient, just waiting for their premium opportunity. Took 21 seconds in overtime, but that will be a win. West Charlotte will find their second one of the season. Good job to them to be able to find it. And you know what? I believe in North Mech. They're going to bounce back. There's going to be a lot of love and fun for that squad. And I believe in One Mute Frog to be able to be something that can be built around, especially because they'll be a junior going into next year. Job well done for both these teams on the season. Obviously, improvements can be made, but great ending to it.
At least we'll have some leadership at that older level too, because I think it's important to note that maturity is a real thing, an aspect in esports as well, right? It'll help leadership with, given to other players. It'll help them grow. I think One Mute Frog is the individual to do that for North Mech. They do have a long way to go, in my opinion. In West Charlotte, I mean, same thing applies. They played really great here tonight, but you take your win, you celebrate, you say, hey, we played great in this series, but next season comes around and you have to step it up again. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself behind as you did this season. So West Charlotte, need to... I like the fact that they were able to kind of take off the gas pedal. It seemed like they knew that they had this series in the bag, so great esports etiquette. But it took them a little bit of time to win that series.
It did, and that last game in particular, you knew they were trying to be like FaZe Clan and just kind of do whatever they felt like doing.
The old NRG. Yes.
Yeah, old NRG.
How many times do we see that?
Oh my God. Being reminded that they are a little bit mortal. But job well done, and just like you said, my coach said it all the time, 24 hours, enjoy the win, now move on and perfect your craft.
100%. Let's see how they performed on the Stim side, too. As we take a peek at the scorecards of this final week, they were putting their product out in front of focus groups, and here's how they responded. As you can tell here, North Mech on my side. We're not taking teams, by the way. This is we're both on the same team here, just talking. I know it looks that way, but we both won group size though, which is pretty cool. Which means both of these Stim teams are growing. And feedback quality up there as well. So, I mean, pretty much checking box after box here for both teams. That's good to see.
I'm just saying, my team over here, because this is my team now. So I'm just saying, One Mute Frog may be over there, but this is my. Look, they put me on the winning side, so W's all around. So thank you. But action on feedback.
Yeah.
Look, these guys know how to present. They also know how to take feedback, criticisms, and be able to build upon it. So job well done. This is really cool. And I've been seeing stuff like this every single week. It's great that they have this kind of scoring as well as opportunity to build upon these, especially at the high school level, because there's so many people that try to do this exact same stuff when they get into the real world, and they've had no experience with it. This is something that you can really take advantage of, especially in this time in high school.
Certainly can. I'd like to bring up the schedule as well to see what matches we have coming up here on the CMS Esports League channel. Of course, if you just type a B into your browser after our twitch.tv/CMS Esports League, B, we have some games going on over there. So Hail Monkey Man, we've got East Mech facing off with CEEC, aka Charlotte Engineering. In that one, again, another matchup where two teams that just haven't quite been able to perform throughout the season, they'll have their chance at a win. And then, of course, throughout the rest of the broadcast, I mean, we have a close match after close match at that point.
We're going to be tracking so many chances for possible playoffs, possible buys, possible just teams trying to flex. But yeah, all the way down, all of this is pretty darn important. You have your teams that have definitely made it and your teams that are trying to make sure they have a chance. East Mech and Seek, Philip O'Berry and Providence, Rocky River and South Mech. There is some heat that's going to be in that one. I can't wait. Ardrikel trying to stay perfect against these Huskies and JT Williams and Mallard Creek. Is Mallard Creek for real, or are they not? We're going to get to find out. All these matches are really great today.
They are, from start to finish. I mean, even you even talk about the B stream, right? The olive stream, if you will. As Harding rather, facing off with Hopewell to start things off. A pretty similar situation as we saw on this channel, so both teams have a very good opportunity to do some damage there. And then Myers Park facing off with Butler will be another close one. Myers Park, some would argue, had underperformed during the season based on what was on paper, but they have a chance to bounce back. I mean, they're still in the playoff pictures technically, as they had a big win over Providence, looking to bounce back on that one. They'll face off with Butler on that channel. Again, just to add a B to our stream. And then we have Independence facing off with Palisades. Again, couldn't get much closer as Independence, they can't get that bye, but they're still going to play because they need to win to make the playoffs.
Yeah, if there was ever, so you know I'm a Rocky River Ravens stan, right? If there was ever a person that you would believe is a Palisades stan, it's Mr. Bepic. He is all Puma all the time, and I know that he is back in the Palisades going into that matchup in particular. So there's a bit to play for when it comes to the middle of the stack. Simply, seeding is a thing too. We talk about the top four, we talk about buys, talk about guaranteed land. There's still seeding going into that play-in because we basically are in the hunt. We have the wild card, and then you have the big bracket playoff at land, and that is all coming up today and in successive weeks.
That's right. Guaranteed Olympic also going to be a good one. And Palisades is to Mr. Bepic as Rocky River is to Hail Monkey Man, apparently. Love seeing that. Great matches, no doubt. We'll have the next match coming up as well. So let's go ahead and get into it, Hail Monkey Man. Why not? We're going to run the table here and get into our next matchup. And let's check out the rosters for this group and see, exactly who we have coming up. Because it's, like we said, it's going to be close game after close game. Charlotte Engineering, ever since Skimmett kind of hopped away, or, left him for South Mech, they've been trying to find their way. Now's their chance. Both teams at 2-5. And East Mech, led by Just Dre and Banana Boy and Gecko Boy, will be the ones, the boys, to round out that roster.
Yeah, boys, but this is going to be a close game. Obviously, both these teams, they haven't had the greatest of seasons, but this is that moment where the rest of the season really doesn't matter. You have to just simply focus on the game today. A couple of wins. You did have Seek only able to beat North Mech as well as Hopewell. A couple teams that really haven't performed on the season. Opposite of them, they do have East Mech. And if there's anyone that I'm looking at, it is Banana Boy, and that's not just because I'm Monkey Man, which it sounds like it honestly sounds like a sidekick.
It does.
But I believe in them to be a leader today. Okay. Look, this is going to be a heck of a good matchup. They were able to beat Charlotte Virtual and Harding, so they've beaten who they needed to beat, and then it's otherwise been kind of a rough draw for them, playing some of the best. I mean, most recently, East Mech, they did lose to Rocky River Ravens. I hope that they can be taking that as a propellant forward and some lessons learned, and I think this is going to be close. I would give the slightest edge to Seek, mostly just because I've seen them slightly more often.
And I have as well. This is also a team that is young as too. I mean, they've got 2 freshmen and a sophomore on the original listed roster, so clearly they have some time to grow. East Mech has a senior and a junior and a freshman is Gecko Boy. And Gecko Boy is that talent for that team too for East Mech and can step up in that way. And so obviously Just Dre is who we look for, but that's definitely a second player that you want around. So a senior and a freshman lead that team, because that's a good way to kind of round your way into the next season. So you're right, nothing too impactful on the line, except for the fact that you want to run into next season pretty hot going into the next semester.
Very true. And one of these teams is going to get to 3 wins, and that's going to be big. You could be finding that as well as maybe the rest of the picture. I love this upper left quadrant. This is fantastic. I only want to see over here.
You said big. We got you.
Talk about camera settings. The one that can see the net is learned to valid as they're able to take a big doink off their opponent and simply strike on target.
Wow, that was very quick transition. So Sequizet has the advantage. They were able to take advantage of Just Dre. Unfortunately, your sidekick, Banana Boy, ran into him and caused a little bit of chaos there defensively. I don't see that happening very frequently. I think this team is relatively got it together recently. We'll see if that's the case, though, as they've had a bit of a rough patch as of late. But that being said, they're going to make it close. It's just a matter of when can they strike, and right now, Just Dre trying for it, but just a little bit off that mark.
Astral and AO, the ANA club, they have been huge when it comes to Seek's defense. But Gecko Boy, you're talking about there's players with talent out here. And when the shades come down, it's all memes and dreams. Banana Boy with that sidewall touch, and then the great follow-up, East Mech. They found a response. Yeah, that other doink kind of gave it away, but they respond in earnest.
Yeah, they did. They made no... They didn't let any time pass. They were already on it. And that's the freshman coming and making differences already. So Just Dre, really this season was unfortunate as a senior, in going to leave us as far as the league goes and head on to hopefully, the college realm. I imagine they could be competitive in that aspect as well. So would love to see that too. But Gecko Boy's got East Mech in good hands. And hopefully it'll continue in that fashion too. This will be a good test, though, against Seek, who's looking to strike here, too. Val got a shot off, but it was Dre able to answer that one, and midfield, it's Gecko to put it right back in their zone.
You can tell Valid takes a lot of these touches very seriously on just first approach. They want to be able to basically get every single win going to the goal line, but sometimes you have to be just a tiny bit more patient. That one's going to be AO in chase of it, and Just Dre, the senior, you called him out. They're able to find one good bouncer, and this is just the follow-up they needed to get it around Valid, who thought they had him over the top, and they're giving the wow. So that one's going to be 2 in a row for East Mech.
Yeah, with these 2 and 5 teams, what you look for is fundamentals. You look for them to simplify the gameplay, and Just Dre did nothing crazy there. Even though he knows that he's capable in his own mind of making big plays, big mechanical plays, you don't have to, right? All you have to do is focus on your speed, focus on being able to beat that last defender if you have that wide open shot, and take it from there. That being said, CEEC looking to bounce back as they had that shot, but it went just off the mark, and East Mech was able to fight it off for now as Gecko Boy back to it, but Valid able to shut him down as well. Another shot off the mark, though, as that one hits the post, and Astral able to get to it.
I'm telling you right now, Valid is going to be that hero. So if there's anything that you want to have activity-wise, it's someone that's always having a nosedive for the ball. Look at those challenges. Able to just find it in open midfield space, and it gets bonked all the way beyond the midfield line, but East Mech does have at least a touch to it. And you've mostly seen AO and Astro kind of be relegated to just seeing how they can support Valid. I've actually not seen a lot of this player, but so far they're proven that they're going to be that forefront of Seek's attack.
Yeah, and that's justified as well. Just through that first couple of minutes where they're really relying on him in order to get the shots that they are necessary and try to produce those grade A chances. We've seen a lot of shots, not a whole lot of them that have tested this other side for East Mech, and so will that change? It'll be up to Valid to try and create those chances, and that was one of them, but Astral just couldn't quite find it. AO waits. It's Just Dre to challenge this one too. And the 50-50, although one will just go sideways, horizontal, if you will. And Banana Boy, your sidekick, stepping up there on the wall and able to push it forward. And they have a real opportunity now if they can press.
That's how I taught him right there. That's the banana of solitude right there, as they just go up on a solo venture. But Valid has been very ball chasey, very fast and quick to these touches. But that's something that both AO as well as Astro have been having to work around, kind of just a slow approach, and Valid trying to really step them up to the plate of some extra velocity. This does leave an open back line, and this is going to be a press that they have to get away from because Dre is bearing down upon him. A shot is on target, and that'll be another one for the senior. 3 in a row after the opening mistake, and it's been all cleaned up by East Mech.
And East Mech is forcing this scenario, right? It seems like Charlotte Engineering has been on their heels trying to get touches away from the center of the field, and it's not like they're doing it incorrectly. It seems like every touch defensively is looking for the corner like you're taught, at this level of play. But it just seems like East Mech has done a better job putting it behind them, making it awkward for Charlotte Engineering, and they're not able to get it out to the corner. Instead, you see loose balls like this, where Just Dre is able to push it towards that back wall and have Banana Boy follow up like you saw here in this corner.
Valid's now got no boost, and they have to rely on Astro to go. Actually, there's AO to go and get a big win. Astro kind of back behind Valid, and Banana Boy, I mean, they can pretty much harass these corners and just bury it around this this rotation, and it's going to force Seek to have to come out, burn extra boost, and then they're just not going to have time nor resources to really get any extra shots on target, which is great because you're right now trying to burn off this clock. Valid's going to get an absolute bomb downtown. Banana Boy with a great find. That's how you do it, sidekick. East Mech should be able to coast, especially with this long clear.
Yeah, that was almost in, by the way, as Gecko would have made it 4-1. That would have definitely solidified things. With Charlotte Engineering and Valid, it's possible for them to bounce back, but Dre does a great job to just kill more time. This will fall back down to the box. Astro's got a one-on-one situation, but again, Banana Boy right on the spot, and is up for this one too. Valid will tap it back down, but Dre to kill more time. And as Gecko tosses this one to the side wall, time is run out. It'll be East Mech with the 1-0 lead here in this series, and looking like the better of the two teams. We talked about, the young squad over at Charlotte Engineering, but it was East Mech that really had it together and just played a simplified game that looked pretty strong at times.
I mean, really did. I mean, we got to see them going very confidently after just collection of those possessions, especially into the corners, and they just hard rotated on top of Seek, and Seek really can do much more than hope they can get one good initial touch and push, but they played from first touch and could never collect secondary and tertiary touches thereafter to elongate their possession. They were mostly dive, press, and pray, see if anything could bounce their way, and the one time it did was the opening score. After that, it was just good patience, and Just Dre coming in with some great cleanup shots, and of course Banana Boy really advocating for a stellar offense.
And when you rely on those bounces, like you mentioned, offensively, it's not a way to establish your game, because that's not anything that you can find consistency with. In fact, they actually saw the opposite of that defensively, as a lot of those bounces caused by Just Dre were bouncing back towards their net because they were too hot to handle. This offense is really stellar from East Mech right now. They're really hot, and they're looking to add to it as well as Banana Boy. Not only 10 seconds in, it seems that they've got this lead at 1-0 and are looking towards this Game 2 win already.
Banana Boy, I'm so proud. Look at you spin to win. That's so good. What a dive, honestly. Just burn through your canister, get downfield, make sure to punish when the defense is lacking, and stack up some extra goals. It has been a 4-goal run so far from the first time that East Mech was able to score in game number 1, and then for the duration of that to now. It's got to be Seek that gives themselves an opportunity. That's a good shot on target. It at least keeps the defense honest, but it's going to be well dug up by Gecko Boy on that save, and Valid another pop and go, and then just kind of waiting on it. That one could have been a waterfall opportunity, and that's one of the few times they should have dove.
That is. Astral eventually gets to it, but by the time you're able to, you have to work around the defense. Instead of having that straight-on shot that would have existed had you dove a little bit earlier. So I do like the chip and chase, because Valid is finding that the back wall is relatively open on that East Mech defensive side. So if you keep going at it, you'll have opportunities, but I'd like to see him follow up on those chances, because right now the rest of the team isn't finding their speed towards the other end to make a difference and really put that pressure onto East Mech like they want him to.
Yeah, right now it seems to be more of just kind of, all right, what kind of pocket of least resistance can we find open and just dropping into a zone. You do see Astral go up, and that is, wifty between themselves, as well as Gecko Boy and Valid, because of their aggressive rotation, have found themselves caught out. They have maybe one extra chance. They have to beat 2 as AO waits in the wings with 90 seconds burned off here of game number 2. Seek still behind 1 in the series as well as in this game, and not able to make that connection. Valid looking from that sidewall touch, but patience pays off for the senior of Just Dre as they're trying to just drive their way out of here. They're going to have boost, ball, and everything moving upfield.
That positioning on that challenge was stellar in that shot as well. Banana Boy able to make it 2-0 for East Mech as he plays that exactly top left corner and has given East Mech a favorable lead here into game number 2.
Hey, East Mech is looking like one of those squads, especially in this moment. They have not been denied since after allowing that first goal in game 1. They've been able to run out and go get 5. Now a shot put back. They will cut down that drought as Seek finally gets one. Take advantage of the kickoff rotation. Not everyone in position, one facing his own net, and they just can't respond. That's the way you get yourself back in a game.
All right, Ayo, I see you. That's a great job off the kickoff number 1. You can tell it's been something you're practicing in free play. I know I send it off the left side corner and then get that read and label a shot there. But listen, you put it in work in free play, and can read those bounces, and it gives you a favorable opportunity. But like we said, Seek can't rely on those favorable bounces to happen all the time, although you do want to take advantage of them when the opportunity arises like you just did.
Yeah, boy. Trying for some of these big dunks. I love the aggression. They've really been flashing the mechanics as well as just confidence. Then they're doing it again, consistently so. Trying to work around Valid, but they will force it to the ceiling. But who to fill the gap? Double commit. Shot is on target, and the ricochet. You know what? Sometimes the best shot is just one you take a chance on. They throw it in the box, and the bouncer beats them both.
Yeah, and it was perfectly placed. If you're going to take a shot in that scenario where you have two members of the enemy team on the back line and ready to try to pinch it out, you have to put it directly between them. So you have to give yourself the best opportunity with that placement, and that's exactly what Dre did. It maybe didn't look very dangerous from our standpoint, but in this game, that's a perfectly placed shot as well. It's not just upper 90 where you need to put it all the time.
Ooh, dangerous drop. Banana Boy trying to dunk it, and they will! Oh my goodness, how many different medals just popped up on the screen? That was a playmaker, that was a shot, I think that was a hat trick, so many of them, and why not? Because they were able to get it off and around 3 different players. A 1v3 deserves 6 different medals, I think, right?
Yeah, it's easy as 1, 2, 3 earning those medals, Banana Boy would say, at the end of his name.
Very true. Very true.
Gecko Boy as easy as 0-4. I didn't see the rest of the numbers. We'll get to that. We'll keep you up to date.
As the numbers change in the moment, the spreadsheet evolves.
0-4-1-5. We got it. All right. We can move on. Just Trey. Moving to the back wall. We'll take a shot, but that one was wide of the target. Not that they need any more goals, but when you do play this offense for an extended period of time, it allows Seek to do absolutely nothing on their offensive side, and that's what they're doing. And another goal doesn't hurt either. That one just below the bar. Just Dre will make it 5-1.
If this continues, East Mech, both these teams are at 2-5. If this kind of attack continues and they do get to 3-5, there's availability for a big mix-up at the bottom of the pile, depending on who loses in some of those 3-win games. So especially a lot of eyes start to float over to that Philippo Berry and Providence game, and this team right now in East Mech looks primed enough to maybe jump that stack depending on some of these tiebreakers.
That's right. I'm also eyeballing Butler there too, though it seems like they've just had a rough season because the talent is all there for Butler. We've seen them perform at their highest level, and we're like, oh, maybe this is a top 5 team. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone that way the past few weeks for them. And so that one's going to be a long shot for sure. Philippo Berry and Providence is going to be your best hope for East Mech. But step 1 in the process is to win this series. So at least they're looking to check that off the box. I think that goes without saying in the first couple of games alone.
Yeah, and right now they're putting their best foot forward. If there was ever a team that, they have to just have their fate in their hands, at least for what they can do. This is a squad in East Mech that is doing everything possible to give themselves that chance. They didn't do it through the regular season, depending upon if the players were available or otherwise, but they're doing it when they have to right now, and then everything else will come up to fate. Less than a half minute to go. AO with last touches and Seek. Well, the Engineers are going to have another chance, but it may be their last one for the entirety of the season. They're going to have to reverse sweep against East Mech, and that's a heck of a thing that you have to do. The Eagles have been flying oh so well. And when this timer kicks down, it will be a 2-0 series lead for East Mech. Why not add another? Valid is at least putting up a pretty valid defense.
Yes, yeah. I mean, put some heart and effort into it, which you love to see. But I think you brought it up best when you said for Charlotte Engineering here, even if they are to bring this back and they are able to push and win this 3-2, that's tough on your game differential as well, which will be taken into consideration when you look at the tiebreakers. So if they do pull it off, losing those first 2 games is going to be tough for them. But again, like we mentioned with all the other teams that we've seen already on this broadcast, you have to start somewhere. And for them, it'll be tough the way that East Mech continues to lay it on. I mean, where was this East Mech team earlier in the season? I know this may not be the challenge that they've seen throughout, but they're really performing the best that we've ever seen them, I think, this season. I don't know if you agree with that, though.
I mean, I do. I mean, where was Banana Boy? Obviously, that player was missing. Yeah. That is the player that, because it cannot be denied. If Banana Boy was here the entire season playing, there is no way that this team would be where they are right now. Now, I mean, granted, based on who they've had to play, they did go against Butler and they lost. They went against Garinger and they lost. This is where Philip O'Berry, they went 0-3, 0-3, 0-3 against those 3 squads. They went 0-3 Independence as well as Rocky River Ravens. It's not like there's talent missing, but I just gotta, is so much of that talent at the upper stack of that first 12 teams? Like, Banana Boy looks great. Dre looks consistent. Gecko Boy is able to help him out. I don't see how East Mech is here.
I'm with you completely, and I think you would have the best answer out of all of us, seeing as Banana Boy is your sidekick. So
I know!
Think about where he was that whole time. I'll let you do that.
Look, he was out there saving, fighting crime, trying to get straight A's. Yeah. It's tough on a Banana Boy in this world, in this economy. Come on.
Times are hard for everybody, including Bananas. So let's squeak out this center. East Mech looking to close out in this game number 3 for Seek. They're looking to get on the board for the first time. As far as wins go, they have scored a goal. That's definitely the good news for them so far. In game number 1, they put up a couple. And now looking to do a little bit more than that. They're going to need Valid to step up for sure. Has been doing a good job to chip and chase. Needs some support there on the back line as well. And Astral unfortunately can't find that one. And a boy shot a little bit high. So that'll be fortunate for Charlotte Engineering here early.
If we're going to have a chip and chase mentality, then you're basically playing old method style. I'm talking about pros, especially when you would have Metsonorus and Magnus with a lot just kind of going all the way up. Yeah, my OGs shout out. But that if you're going to have that, then a Valid better be doing a lot and just really relying upon a defense that's AO and Astral, and then that rotation better be hitting, because otherwise you're not going to be seeing anyone quitting, especially with just Dre and this attack. It was off the sidewall, catching the defense just unable to respond.
Yeah, Valid was that close, but it's been a very much a sore place for Charlotte Engineering. They haven't been able to step up defensively and cover that back wall, whether it be above the crossbar itself or whether it be to the left or right. Either way, they haven't been able to get the touches they need to get out. They've been that close. But again, East Mech, every time they do end up slipping up on the other side, they've been able to take advantage. Those opportunistic, moments have been favoring East Mech, and it's a reason why they have a 1-0 lead in this game and a 2-0 lead in the series.
Astral trying to fight the world right now, especially on that first challenge. AO better be looking at this read, because this is going to be a dangerous one. And we'll have Banana Boy diving after it, and Gecko Boy trying to follow him up. What a dynamic fighting duo that might be. And Valid looking for some extra space. They don't have a lot of boost, and they can't chase this one with Earnesty behind them. Astral get caught on the sidewall, and just Dre will find a second one. Allen was looking pretty darn good until Dre took him from the top rope.
Yeah, and Astral almost recovered from that awkward sidewall post action that was happening there too. In addition to that, so a couple of things go a little bit differently, and it would have been Charlotte Engineering with a decent opportunity there. So unfortunately for them, a couple of things go awry. I mean, but credit Just Stray. He came out of basically nowhere to take that away from Valid, who was so sure that he could get that second and third touch. Forget about it. Just Stray is across the pitch.
You can say that wasn't valid. No, it was. But at the midway mark here of Game 3, you've got 2. Look, Gecko Boy just said okay to me, so be cool, Gecko Boy. It wasn't that big of a deal. Savior Medal goes over to Valid, which also really kind of designates how much he's been having to activate from the back line, which is not where that player wants to be. Astro looking for a challenge. Valid in the way, but this is going to be dangerous, high hanging, and luckily Gecko Boy is unable to find any kind of connection, or else that one could have been much worse. Midfield boost is taken, and Valid has to make the best out of this situation. They will partial rotate, and now they have to give up on that challenge to allow East Mech, or rather Seek, to get into a better defensive posture. But it's these setups we're finding from the sidewalls, the perimeter play by East Mech, that's really outplaying Seek on these setups. I say that, and then Boy has to clean this one up too.
Yeah, and he does for the time being. Just Dre jumps on it as well, and you see Charlotte Engineering doing all the right things to some degree, right? Just Dre gets the ball, and Valid is directly on him, looking for a challenge, right? And trying to push him horizontally versus allowing him to push vertically, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. Every single time East Mech finds a way around, and in this case, it'll be a 3-0 deficit that they have to dig out of yet again, and a 2-game deficit as well. I mean, it's going to be a long shot at this point. East Mech has handled this brilliantly.
They really have. And honestly, shout out to Dre, the senior, putting on their best performance that we've seen all season. They get a hat trick. They're just looking really darn good. And you got to wonder about this program as it continues to go. You see performances like this, and this can really galvanize a student group. What a touch by Banana Boy. Look at the layback takeaway on this shot.
Yeah, just able to get up with a purpose, right? And the touch backwards, you're right. That little angle is everything. That is what Rocket League is when you can manipulate your car in the air to get a touch that gets away from the defense. That is a mindful shot from him. And I guess when things are going right for you, they just continue to do so. This time it's just Dre off the kickoff for that 5-0 lead.
When it rains, it pours, and oh goodness, trying for the flip just a little bit too late. They were very wide of it, and they become a backboard for that last shot. So 5 for East Mech, and a molehill became a mountain, became Everest, became basically SpaceX program, and trying not to explode on this rocket in flight. East Mech have been able to get themselves in the best position they possibly could without having done so in the previous weeks. They just have to wait and see what everyone else is going to do. But with 70 seconds remaining, Seek, I mean, if they're going to pull out the miracle, it's got to be now. Otherwise, East Mech is going to be coasting.
Gecko Boy looking to just kill more time. A bit of a miscue, though, defensively here for East Mech, but looking to clean up the loose change is your sidekick to push out yet again, as Astral now will get the 100 boost. Running out of time, needless to say. 49 seconds left. Turning is Gecko Boy here, who I'm adopting as my sidekick now, by the way, based on his performance. He's been very good to you. Bearlight and Gecko Boy are going to challenge Mr. Monkey Man and your beloved Banana Boy.
We need to set that up as a 2v2 at the LAN. That better happen.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, that's content and a half, and also super fun. That's just gonna happen. Less than a half minute to go. It's a victory lap for East Mech. They're trying for one more. AO will be able to get the dig, but it just won't be enough. Seek was able to start off with the first goal, but that wasn't their last. It just won't be any others that get remembered off their own backboard. East Mech has done the work necessary. Now they just have to wait. With 7 to go, they find a 6th, and honestly, this team is so alive.
Yeah, they are. They are feeling it. I mean, this team showed up today, and you do that for, 8 weeks. You do that consistently throughout a season, and you're feeling good about where East Mech can be. Again, it all comes down to, do you put in the work, the time and effort over the summertime, where it's very tempting to do other things? You have to set a little bit of time aside for Rocket League to put in that time and effort. Clearly, the time that they put in was great this season as they improve to that 3-5 mark. And now they're waiting on other teams as well to see if they get the bid towards the playoffs, because they will need a little bit of help. But again, Providence has got their hands full with that Philippa Berry. That's going to be their best shot.
Yeah, that one in particular is going to be wild. We get to see what Butler is going to do, but we have to see some switch-ups going on at that 12 and 11 mark. Who's going to win, who's going to lose, and who may leave just that tiny open door for someone to jump in. And honestly, East Mech looks like they're prepared to take advantage of that position if they can. A 3-0 sweep to end your season and get yourself at least to that necessary win column is at least the best shot that you can make. Now they just have to hurry up and wait.
Well, Charlotte Engineering might not be able to win their last match of the season on the Rocket League side, but they are still seeking, yeah, I said it, a win on the Stim side. They face off with Hopewell here, and let's see how they did, Hail Monkey Man. I get Seek this time, and looks like the Hopewell gang is just absolutely popping off in this one with their presentation survey structure. I mean, just look through the list. That's incredible.
This is a double sweep, if you will, on the day. Hopewell! I've seen Hopewell's their project, and it's honestly very, very good. The production for it has been stellar. Yep. They've been consistent with all they've been doing. Seek, this one must have just been mailed in. We've been talking with, I believe is, I've honestly forgotten both our judges' names. Malcolm and what?
And Tart. Mr. Tart.
And Tart.
Yep.
Tart. And so they got harsh in these later weeks, especially because they got to use the apps in the games, and they're like, you guys mail it in? No dice. And with no credit, that must have been what happened. But you know what? Sometimes that just means that you got to, dust off and try again.
Yeah, that's right. And, for Charlotte Engineering, you have to. You have to dust that off. I mean, it's high expectations as well. You're Charlotte Engineering early college, right? That's Seek, right? And so when you're in that spot as a STEM team, you really have the pressure to perform. So to mail it in, I feel like even if it is a decent product, you know what I'm saying, where you put a little bit of time and effort into it, that's not your expectations, right? We want to see you truly get out and perform like we know that you're capable of. And I think that's what happened here, unfortunately, for Seek. That is, like you mentioned, 2 sweeps on the night, so and it'll be a 3-0. Sure enough, there it is in the focus group. Quite honestly, 3-0 on both fronts.
Wow. That's a rough night, 2 L's, but that's simply the next step to improving yourself. So everything can have a silver lining. I know it's rough to take a loss. I've taken a lot of them, but make sure that you can look 2 L's. Look at this, L, W. That's how it forms in the future. Yeah, look,
cool.
I'm basically a cat poster.
I like going the
time.
other way, cross them up a little bit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like
you also get like the Raven, right? The Rocky River. I know you're into that, so.
Oh my
I don't know if that's their actual logo.
It's just a bunch of people going.
Rocky River, you're welcome to use that, okay?
You're welcome.
They're not going. They're never going to. They're never going to. You know what? We're gonna take a quick break here on the CMS Esports League while we get our lives together and bring our next matchup. We'll check out the schedule at the other side of this break. welcome back to the CMS Esports Varsity and STEM League. I'm here and joined by Mr. Hell Monkey Man. My name is Bear Light, and we get into the next matchup, which features one of your favorite teams and one of my favorite teams, as I've got South Mech facing off with your Rocky River Ravens. It starts now.
Rocky River Ravens! This team has so much momentum, so does South Mech, but this is basically an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, and I cannot wait to see how this kicks butt and off, because ID Faye, this player in particular, is going to be that difference maker. I kid you not, if this player goes off for the Ravens, they basically are unstoppable.
They are. And for South Mech, I am watching one thing. They have Caden coming in here for South Mech. Skimmit's doing Skimmit things, so as long as he can do that, you're good. But Caden hasn't been seen this year. He's taking the place of Peyton, who has also stepped up by leaps and bounds. So will Rocky River be able to take advantage of it? Gonna be tough when Skimmit's doing things like that.
Pretty much. I've seen good Peytons in this game as well. So considering that they're actually in replacement of that, it's interesting. Perk was a good support component when it came to this Ravens squad. They were really setting up a lot of different shots, as well as getting their own when it came to getting it over to just in all their teammates. But P. Andy, I haven't seen a lot of them. I want to see if they can really kind of step up their game. Big bump play just to get rid of possession from South Mech. But you see ID Faye isolated into a 1v2. Good catch, good trap, and good way to give their teammates some time to rotate.
And Caden, the sub-in, did a great job to push that across to the box. And this one holds, though, and ID Faye couldn't get around for that angle. You saw that air roll trying to prepare for that sharp angle, but the shot didn't quite follow suit.
Yeah, Perk with a quick turnaround as well. This is a good response by Rocky River Ravens. I just love saying their name all in a row because it's just, but that's also a sound of frustration and apparently nearly becoming a pirate, because Skimmit has now gotten the first couple of goals. It was simply off of all the defense rotating into net, taking advantage of shooting behind their backs.
And that's the South Mech Sabres, also equally as punchy in the name. So love these two teams just based on their names alone. And the fact that they're battling their hearts out for a chance at a bye, because both of these teams listed in that instance, right, to try and break through. Olympic and, what is it, JT Williams, I think, is in there as well, and Huff, too, part of that equation. If they lose, you can earn that spot, but you have to perform here. In Rocky River, even missing Peyton, they're not able to get on the scoreboard in the first 2 minutes, and Skimmit's coming right back at you as well.
Yeah, Skimmit has been a lethal player to have to deal with, and that is a very big player to believe in if you are South Mech. They've now slowed down at least their pace, but they're sending just kind of dagger players in there to challenge within the stripes. You're going to find a win by ID Faye out in midfield space, looking for a give back and go. Perk is able to find at least one, but the takeaway and then just the carry by Skimmit to give it over to Hercules, and the turnaround by ID Faye necessary to get rid of this 1-on-2. Weird turnaround as you do have the defense are ready to go on the catch. The South Mech has pretty much been able to dial up a play as well as a response for each Raven player trying to come onto their half of the pitch.
It's the advanced mechanics of Skimmit that he makes look so easy. It looked like he was riding a hoverboard, the way that he was hovering maybe a couple of feet off the ground, but still carrying it to a 50-50. Which favored him in that instance, where he kept it high and was able to send it back down the field accordingly. Those little things add up over time, and eventually they'll break your back. And Skimmit's got the hat trick early. 2:07 left in the clock on game number 1, and he's done it.
Skimmit, my goodness. I believe I've heard you talk about Skimmit at least a time or two before, and this is a real player. This is coming in hot. Game number 1, I often say it's about who is ready first. Maybe not the best team, but the team that was off the starting line as soon as the seconds started ticking off the clock. And that's exactly what's happening right here for South Mech. Rocky River, they look a little bit lost. They definitely are caught up in each other's rotations. This is not that same kind of confidence that I saw in them a week or so ago. Andy on the opposite side, big challenge. They don't get around Hercules, and it's just Skimmit waiting in the wings. That's a big miss, though, but they cannot capitalize on the opportunity.
Yeah, Perk tried the late flip to try to adjust from the fact that he was lit off the mark to begin with, and that just spelled his downfall for Rocky River as Skimmit was able to collect that afterwards. You're right, ID Faye seems like, the confidence is shot because you don't have your full roster. You gotta look at it this way. South Mech doesn't either. You have to take advantage of it, of their opportunities that they give up because of their lack of rotation or practice with their third. So you can't make excuses at this point. You have to just play out and play at your full capabilities. And right now, South Mech looks in tune with Caden, what he's been able to do as C Hercules gets on the board.
You also have the opportunity here, based on whatever gets to happen between this week and then the remaining weeks, especially because both these teams are guaranteed a playoff position. This is key, is that you can play with a depth of your roster. Give teammates that maybe they're not here, you know, now you're going to play with your new third, new fourth, whichever. Give them a chance to simply get that game rep, because it is so hard to find true game speed and competition speed to move up to, and this is a good position to do it in. You don't write off this series, but this game definitely can be written off, at least for right now. With less than 70 seconds to go, South Mech off the mighty shoulders of Skimmit and their squad, who's been able to support them oh so well. They're trying to continuously drive the Ravens back.
And that's what they've been doing. They've been able to accomplish it, and so why not continue with that same line? So ID Faye waits. Caden tried to clear. Again, Perk right in their face to keep the offensive possession in the hands of Rocky River. Piandi looking to press that forward too, and it will go to the box, but right out to where South Mech should be able to get to it. Eventually they do, and send it all the way back down the length of the pitch for Rocky River. Back up for it. Again, trying to create anything is ID Faye, but is shut down on the back wall too, as C Hercules has really stepped up as that number 2. As Skimmit took a shot. Good save from Perk. Although it's too late for game number 1, a bit of a confidence booster into game 2.
At least something, especially defensively, to build upon. The biggest thing that the Ravens gave up, they would go for an attack, they'd send the house, they'd send the kitchen sink for everything as well, but they would leave a wide open opportunity for Skimmit to catch them when they are crawling away. Skimmit, he's got those advanced measures, and this is a squad in South Mech that they're starting to really kind of live up to their win streak. Game number 1 will continue it, as they'll be able to have a one-up on the series over the Ravens, looking pretty good before game 2.
Certainly are. This is a team that I always have had in my top 3. And coming into the season, I said South Mech. I mean, this is going to be a team that can make a difference. See, Hercules, I hadn't seen much from them or Peyton coming in, but I knew that Skimmit made all sorts of differences. And I also noted that South Mech was pretty decent in Season 0, and they replaced them with a couple of individuals that came up from the junior varsity roster. So I knew they have depth. I knew that they're adding a superstar to their roster as well. I saw them fall in the first couple weeks, Al Monkey Man. I was like, maybe I don't know as much about this team and how they're going to perform. And then they won 5 straight. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah, this team is means business. And I do and have kept them in my top 3 even through those rough weeks, because they were against really solid teams. So seeing them pop out right now, I would say and argue is not very surprising, at least not in my eyes.
Bear sweating with an investment for the long haul, and just play, please.
A little bit, yeah.
Please, a little bit of a ticket. But it ends up, it's paying off right now in game number 1. Game 2 will be on the way. And if there's anything I've been learning over the course of this season, as well as all the Rocket League we've been able to cast together, I've decided game 1 is the starter kit. Game 2 is the true definition of what these competitors are able to play with into a best of 5. Best of 7 is a little bit different. Best of 5, though, game 2 really sets the tone for the rest of the series.
Yeah, in best of 7s, game 2 is what's possible. In best of 5, game 2 is where are you at, right? We need you now. And look at that skill to bring it back down, the patience to recognize that the defender was waiting back. Skimmit able to go to work here early yet again. 1-0 South Mech.
Good flip reset, and then just getting the hopper from the ground as they hit it over, and the defender waited till low, but it was just enough to not only be able to get him over them, but with some pace because it came off of their nose. So great job. Skimmit kind of a one-man band right now, not for a lack of both his teammates not being there, because that definitely has been the case. Both Hercules as well as Nadak have been able to really fill in the gaps behind Skimmit, but Skimmit has just been an offensive mastermind of isolating the Ravens and taking them down.
Yeah, besides that one little moment where we saw Piandi make a huge save, by the way. I mean, that was impressive to react in time. But other than that, you're right. It's been South Mech bringing it towards the end of Rocky River and them not being able to respond. So here we have them back and having South Mech pinned down for a moment, although Perk will try to press in now with the box, and all 3 members of South Mech committed. This is where you have to strike from Rocky River, and you love that ID Faye is the one up for it, although Caden was the one that shut it down, as again the sub for South Mech has just fit in like a glove.
I realize now Nadak is Caden backwards, so I've solved the mystery. All right, cool. I'm not good at puzzles, everyone. But it has been sussed out. But Ravens, they're not desperate, but they're definitely searching more heavily for some of these rotations to have to cut off both on each other as well as around South Mech, because they've been pretty comfortable. South Mech has when just facing some of these attacks by the Ravens. Perk is going to step forward, no boost, which makes them into a Lego flying around the living room. You got to make sure the kids don't get back to it. That does actually leave them boostless, as the big boosts have been taken away on that side. That is a boostless Perk hanging out in net and trying to get back to it. Shot on target. Faye will connect. No, he doesn't, as that one comes off the post. That poor post is being battered, beaten, and bruised.
Oh my, he abused it for sure. And Skimmit doesn't really do that very often, unless it's barred down.
What?
As they continue to press far side, nobody can punch this in. They had a couple of angles to work with, and yet nobody was able to find that back of the net, at least not yet. It continued to press, but Rocky River have been bailing themselves out to some degree. Minus the Skimmit missed flat out at one point. What is that read? What is happening in this game, El Monkey Man?
Oh, so many pre-jumps. Oh, Skimmit trying to get it in. This net is too narrow. I did not realize they had the thick post DLC. This one is again gonna hit the post. This is, oh my gosh. Someone call that 1-800 line. I think you guys talked about it, because this continues to be an abuse situation. Rocky River with 2 minutes to go. They still have a chance. We could have had 6 extra goals by now by South Mech.
At this point, I'm afraid for the ball. Like, it's gonna pop at this point. He just continues to hit that sharp edge corner and bounce out. As this has been, if this is what, you know, you said game twos are going to define how these players want to play. Well, it's going to be chaotic through the rest of it, apparently. As it has been a wild one here in game two. If you're just joining us, it is 1-0 lead here for South Mech in the series. 1-0 in this game. And South Mech has had a majority of the chances to try and take a 2-0 lead. Rocky River has just been handcuffed throughout the series.
Finally, oh my goodness! I thought, oh, what do I think? What do I know? ID Faye trying to go against Skimmit, big save, going the other direction. Every single time there is a chance by South Mech to secure a 2-0 lead, it just doesn't happen. Open nets do be scary like that, I suppose. ID Faye, 70 seconds. South Mech only has 1 goal, 1 extra touch. Andy somehow was able to make a read off of Perk's miss, and now is looking for a dime to dish it over to ID Faye. Perk is at the midfield line. We have less than a minute. I didn't realize we'd still be 1-0 by this point.
Same, because we'll look at the shot count from South Mech after this game, because Rocket League, unlike hockey, will count those as shots every time it rings off the post, so they'll have 20. As that shot well high as well. No surprise here. Skimmit tries to settle down, push inwards. What it means for Rocky River, though, is they have a good opportunity. In fact, that bounce will be back out in front, but nobody there to read it, except for Caden on the South Mech end, who's able to push it out to center with the help of C. Hercules.
Perk got destroyed. Big demo. Looking for a chance. Andy. Oh, if that was set to the backboard, maybe he had another look, as Perk was in a great position. 20 seconds to go. The defense has existed, question mark, but it's mostly South Mech just been ringing the gong that apparently has been bonging around the back line. Perk waiting on Andy. The 1-2. Oh, they can't get it past the defense. Seconds ticking off the clock. The dive through, and the defense exists, lives on. South Mech 1-0. That touches grass, and somehow it's just a 1-goal game.
Well, Hell Monkey Man, the best way to have something continue is to say, surely it won't happen again. And that's what we said after the 5th post, and they continued to hit posts. But at the same time, they're able to hit a goal early off the hood of Skimmit and didn't find much else. If they continue the struggles in accuracy, though, eventually they have to break through the other way, right? So you would imagine so.
Yeah, but right? this is also one of those. Okay,
surely it won't keep happening, right?
Surely, but we see a breakout game in game 1. Yeah. Game 2, it was that. We're just gonna call it that. Game 3, all those points you left behind, you often go and pick up. Now, if you don't, that is all up to this Rocky River group to go and find, because so many chances were left behind for them to finally get back in that game, but they couldn't get past the defense. So South Mech just kind of posted up saying, you cannot get beyond us. We can't even get beyond ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. It's just a continuous struggle. You don't want to cause issues that aren't there unless, you know, of course, you can't fight them. Right now, it's Natick aka Caden, able to bury that one. I mean, it's not even Skimmett doing it at this point. ID Faye just couldn't handle it, and Caden was able to take advantage accordingly.
That's an unfortunate pickup by ID Faye because they didn't want to make that touch and to bring it into the stripes. They simply wanted to try and pick it up, trap it, and turn it right back up. But in so making that first contact challenge, they actually put it in a bad position. So Caden, Nadak, whatever they want to be known as, forward, backwards, it's all the same, and so is the same for the opening scores being with South Beck.
I was going to say, when it comes to, rotation, he's got it forward and backwards, but he had said it before I could get to it, so you saved everybody from my terrible joke. That's actually good news.
Dad time out here.
100%. That one pop out, top of the box. Caden was going to be trying to edge it through, but it was 50-50'd out instead by Rocky River, and their defense going to step up. Skimmett back up for that one. Good read, but unfortunately wasn't able to launch their car in the upward position in order to chase that one down with the little boost that he had left in the tank. So it'll pop back down to see Hercules holds, and Skimmett will play it off corner. Try to get it bounced back towards center to find a teammate. Instead, we'll find that Rocky River defense as Rocky River failing to find the back of the net. They haven't been able to find any offense in this series.
Yeah, this is sadly blended itself into a chip and chase situation, which, if they're going to chip and chase, the chaser better chase, because so far it's been first touch, and look at the retreat. Both ID Faye and P. Andy, they're just trying to wait on Skimmett. Now they've recognized, because Skimmett did have a great first game, that they have to respect that kind of challenge. Big Demo will get rid of P. Andy, and this limits it all the way back to just ID Faye at the midfield. But I say ID Faye can be a difference maker. That's a shot on. Oh, the posts continue to get thick. But now it's on South Beck's half.
Yeah, and Rocky River having a little bit caught the virus of South Beck in their shooting accuracy. Although that velocity was great. I mean, that looked like a Rocky River offense that wants to perform. And they continue this offensive pressure too. But, offensive time is one thing, but being able to really pressure and get good chances off of the offensive pressure is what you want. Right now, they haven't been able to break through that box. Skimmett continues to find passes, outlet passes, in perfect spots. As look at the back and forth between those two to escape the zone and kill more time.
We can't talk about kills. We keep finding demos. It's been a lot of South Mech just running behind Rocky River, and they're trying to do the same thing, but instead of like big demos, it's just bumps and a little bit of an extra slap to remind them who's boss right now. Skimmett with a pickup. And that's going to be Perk a little bit late to the party, trying to get rid of them. See, Hercules, I'm going to start looking at them. Are they just NASCAR rolling around getting all those demos? It's going to be Nadak, Caden, whatever, finding two with 2:04 to go. But there's been so many demos this game.
They've come out with a purpose to eliminate anybody that stands in their way. They realized that Rocky River was shutting them down, so was their post, but so was their defense to some degree, and they needed to find a way around it. And South Beck has the talent. They have the speed. They have the capability to make a difference with demos, to be able to allow themselves to work off of that strategy, and it's gotten them the second goal. That one almost found its way for Rocky River through the box and out. As Skimmett's back on it again, not a good sign for Rocky River, as a minute 40 is going to tick by quickly with this 2-0 deficit.
It was a good idea. It was just executed a little bit faster than everyone thinking it would. So that's about the finesse and timing based on some of these executes. Skimmett with the dish. That's going to be Caden trying to drop it right back into the stripes. Good defense by Andy, and then they are given a love pat by Hercules, who will be able to force them into a reset. Less than 80 seconds remaining. This is going to be a third. Great placement, and Caden has been all over this net, really painting the depth of the shooters that South Beck can provide.
And he was part of the South Beck varsity team in Season 0 and was the player to go to. I think I mentioned it prior to this season that, we had newcomers in Peyton and see Hercules come onto the South Beck roster when they had Caden, who is known for shutdown defense, and you can tell that Caden improved by leaps and bounds. So maybe not even a sub situation. I don't know the back end situation here for South Beck, and if this is going to be a permanent change moving forward. I don't know if this is an attendance thing as well, so I won't sit here and speculate, but I will say that Caden has proven that if they need him moving forward, they definitely could incorporate him into this top 3 team, like I mentioned prior to this match.
I mean, it would be great because, you know, if you're talking about like upper echelon of this particular league, going to that top 4, which might be locked in for South Mech, they've made a great argument for it. I want to see if they have a chance to actually make it. It would be great to see Caden a part of it. Skimming with the drop on, and it's going to be in. Yes, Caden does get the secure.
Oh my.
Look, this is
You see that?
just all the way back. Just been able to get so many shots, so many goals, and it's been set up by Skimmit when Hercules just getting demos.
Honestly, constantly. It's been a big part of it too. And if you can run multiple different strategies and have them work, that is even a bigger sign and a bigger argument towards that top 4 spot. Obviously, it won't matter when it comes down to the calculations. That'll be up to game differential and, of course, record at that point. But I mean, making the case for a top 3 team, right? Or, you know, how far can this team go in LAN? Just look at this man work. He is 6 for 7 shooting in this match. And you can play the demo game. You can jump out there and absolutely free up some space for Skimmit. Or off the bat, you can have that full team passing like we've seen all season long. Either way they approach, they've had success with it, and that's the sign. That's how I know Hill Monkey Man, that they're going to be a top 3 team.
It really will. And I can't wait to see what they will do for the remainder going to the postseason. And I don't know if they're going to be completely, you know, they're guaranteed. But it looks like they're going to be able to make at least a big bid for it. But, you know, job well done. Rocky River, you know, Ravens, I still believe in you. I'm still a stand. I'm gonna want a signed T-shirt or some school cool stuff whenever we go out there, because I know they're guaranteed. Well, they're not guaranteed to make land just yet because they do have to fight into that play-in. But they have a task in front of them. I believe they can be able to bounce back, but 3-0 sweep going their way. That is East Mech making a statement. Rather, not East Mech. Wait, hold on.
They did as well earlier in the broadcast.
They did. South Mech. There's a lot of mechs I've been having to learn. Not just mechanics, but Mecklenburg. My goodness, there's a lot of mechs, a lot of directions.
And South Mech has the most North Mech, that we can, the highest mechanics, if you will. And we saw North Mech earlier as well. Oh my goodness.
There's a lot.
You were right. Yeah, definitely. Lots of mechs from Skimmit, and we saw some from Caden as well, stepping up. That was biggest series from him by far. Even extending into last season where he was making a name for himself, it was on the defensive side. So obviously he's gotten a full, you know, 2-way mindset going on in his mind, which has improved his gameplay like crazy. So love seeing that. And we love seeing Stim as well, and some of the results that we have coming up as well. So let's go ahead and get to it, as we have JT Williams on my side, which wins for once. Let's go over South Mech with a 5-2 victory here in the focus group side of things. That's not the score line, though. Obviously, it's just the check marks we saw here. JT Williams all season long has been checking those boxes off on the STEM side. They've been great.
If there's anything, some of these schools, some of these programs don't exactly present the best, but they do at least take actionable feedback, and then they're able to kind of run with it.
That's
so
right.
I do like that they're at least taking that. Sometimes you just, you know, you're not as creative, and I identify with that. I hate making PowerPoints, so I don't fault them at all. And these two squads have been doing really well. I remember JT Williams, they consistently put out a good product. So seeing all those check marks, I am not surprised.
Not by any means. I'm right there with you. They went 4-1. Wow, that is a big difference maker there, too. The positive light that you can pull here from South Mech, I mean, aside from the Rocket League team that's absolutely cracked, is got to be the fact that it was the last 2 boxes that were checked. Imagine having just the group size checked and not the fact that you can take feedback and run with it, right? Which was the 2 that they got. So that's really how you do improve, is by not only getting feedback, but giving feedback. That speaks to the teamwork that they put in. So shout out for South Mech on that front. Although I don't know, it's for what it's worth, right? They still lost 4-1, so they're probably not feeling as strong, but they can take it for all it's worth.
Hey, the way you win is at the very end. This right now is just about finalizing your product. And looking between their squad that is doing STEM as well as this squad in South Mech, the only 2 losses that they have on the entirety of this season 1 is a 1-3 series against Ardrey Kell and Game 5 against JT Williams. There's a lot of success that's coming out of this school, and they will be really fun to be able to see at this LAN. I think they're probably going to be guaranteed, right? Maybe top 4?
You would think top 4. After that win, they're definitely close. It's going to depend on a few different other matches here, I believe. Hold on, let me bring up the list here, because we have matchups going on where Olympic has got to play the match, right?
Yeah.
And then Huff, who are they playing here tonight?
They're playing Ardrikel.
Oh, mercy. That might mean that they're in it. Yeah, that's right. Here we go. Yeah, we have Huff facing off with Ardrikel. So that's potentially a loss there. Although, we will just mention that Ardrikel has already sealed their fate. They're going to be top 4 no matter what. They're already undefeated on the season. Do they take a slide back? Charlie mentioned in the pregame. Do you believe that, though? That is a possibility.
It very well could be, but this also seems like a squad that they want. Because look, there's some teams that they act like the NFL, and they just take a vacation before the last week of the season, and then, you know, a loss. Psh, but this is a team that wants that guaranteed #1 seed. This is a squad that wants that, and they also want to go undefeated. If you have a chance to go undefeated, go undefeated. Do it. Prove that you're the best. Be out there and be the best.
I think they thrive in the fact that they are the team with the target on their back constantly throughout the season. You see, even in the STEM project, it bleeds into that portion of the CMS Esports Varsity and STEM League, where every team is out to get Ardrikel, and when you're trying to bask in that glory, the last thing you want to do is drop any series, or games for that matter, which they have done very little. Besides the 2 to JT Williams, let's see, I think they had 2 other losses on the season, and that's the case, as Olympic and South Mech were the ones they lost to in games, or lost a game 2, rather, just 1 apiece. So they've lost 4 games total out of the, I don't know how many. What's 7 times 5?
35.
There you go.
Fast math. Fast math.
Fast math, baby. Love that.
I do wish I knew who is winning on the other stream, which, if you guys didn't know, is going on right now. CMS Esports League B is the other stream that's going on, and there's going to be some important matches over there as well, because some of these will boil down to all what's left. I think you have Garinger and Olympic, and that's another top 8 situation, which couldn't turn into another top 4. So we're coming down to that limit. If Olympic were to lose, South Mech could jump them. Garinger has a say somewhere in there as well, and it's a little bit of extra chaos. And then, of course, we have that who's just squeaking over the dividing line, as Myers Park is going to be or actually, they already played Butler, so I want to know what the result of that one. We got to dig up some of these, Bear.
We need to. Right now, Palisades down, or up, rather, to Independence. So Independence was on that lower half as well, kind of sliding a little bit back. So that'll be interesting to see where they land. Although it says they are in the playoffs, but just can't get a bye. So that will push Palisades up with that win. So they're going to challenge South Mech there too. Although in game differential, there's no way. I mean, South Mech with that record and differential, they are going to be a top 4 team, even with that 3-0 wins, I believe. But obviously, we'll leave it for the quick math of your brain in order to figure that out.
I don't know nothing about no math. Wait, hold on. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That's 18. 2, 7. That's numbers. I think that's like 21 and 10. There we go. 21 and 10.
Well, doesn't it sounds like you took the wagon down the math hall, huh?
I did, and then I got dropped off at somewhere around geometry. And it just left me with shapes and said, go play with the blocks in the corner.
Oh, my goodness.
So bad. Stay in school, please. Please, if you can afford it, stay in school.
Most West Virginia stuff I've ever heard. Wagon down the math hallway.
I'm not from here. It's fine.
Just messing with you. We're having fun on the CMS Esports League channel. For those of you who are here, we appreciate you joining us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll send it back in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. Hail, Monkey Man and Bearlight back with you here on the CMS Esports Varsity STEM and Esports League. Wow, I do that every single week. Imagine being Bearlight and not being able to do that. Hail, Monkey Man. We see some great games, but we get down to business for the next few, including the next one we have coming up. It's Providence facing off with Filippo Berry. Winning, you're in. Losing, you're out. That is the situation and scenario on the table for this next one.
Good old Pob versus Prob. I want to see these two improve at 3 and 4. 3 is the magic number to be competitive, but 4 is pretty darn good and has a chance to get you squarely into the playoffs. It's going to be up to Destroyer, Quick, XYZ, and Duncan Goku for the side of Filippo Berry to assure themselves into that position, but it could be Ocean Man Legend and Omega 360 that could give themselves that exact same opportunity. This is literally at the dividing line of number 12 versus everyone else that won't matter for the rest of the season, because that's where the playoff stigma is going to be. And it's going to come down to the wire. We have seen too many sweeps today. In fact, it's only been that. Yeah, we got to see something go in the distance, and both these teams have the chance to do exactly that.
It does, because both of these teams, when you think about it, have been the teams that have had that upside potential and just haven't been able to live up to it. But they still have a chance to push into the playoffs nonetheless. And so this is really the tale of which team is able to make a timely statement and pull off a victory that would land them the land. So they're looking to push in. It's going to be an incredible event, by the way. I'm sure details will be on the way from Charlie here over the next week or so keep eyes on that. But Providence and Filippo Berry, the last thing you want to do is be watching this event from the sidelines, I guarantee you.
This is going to be a big one. This is going to be fun, and I can't wait for all of you to be able to see the venue. I want to see it too. It's going to be really neat. All these schools, an entire semester of great competition as well as good projects being accomplished, and of course, being able to see everyone from both the games as well as application project kind of point of view, and seeing that final kind of capstone is going to be really neat. Same is true of this kind of competition. You got to think both these teams are going to be somewhat nervy. They're going to try and go into this with the best foot forward, but it's Rocket League. Anything could happen at the very last moment. I want to see if Duncan Goku is going to come out as swiftly as I've seen him before on the side of Filippo Berry. I feel like Providence is going to be a brick wall in front of them, but, you know, we've got just games to tell, and we're set to get into this lobby.
We certainly are about to fire up with game number 1. I'm watching Destroyer from the Filippo Berry side in this one, because he's also been the name that was, you know, at the beginning of the season going to carry, or at least going to give his team the opportunity to push forward and lead by example. The skill level is there. The level of coachability, that's yet to be proven. We want to see it. We know they're capable. Like we said, potential, but not a whole lot of outcome. For Providence, it is about defensive goal line stands. Ocean Man has been pretty shut down back there, but basically you can rely on anybody. But the question is, Providence was having some issues with attendance yet again this week, and that means that we might not see all 3 members of that full roster on the pitch. We'll have to find out whenever the teams get ready up here. But that is going to be a big difference maker and seems to be a theme here late in the season.
It very much is, and you know, the one thing that I can say is that the Providence squad, they do have Coolio Plutio as their coach, who is also coaching, believe it or not, the other cat squad of Palisade. Yep. So a lot of P's, Pumas, Panthers, Battlestar Galactica, all that stuff. I believe in the I believe in the coach.
Anyway.
Look, I can't quite prattle on, you know. I just got to keep hoping that these kids can be able to battle on. And yeah, attendance, it can be kind of sus sometimes, but you got to make sure that these kids, they can play. These students, I call you kids. Look, you're out there to go and enjoy a video game. And that's exactly what we want to see. We want to see them put everything on the line. This is for a chance at least an opportunity to go to the playoffs. And you got to take it seriously. You got to go out there and play.
You have to play your hearts out. This is the time where you need to shine, right? It's, the worst thing you could do is be on the borderline of forfeit. And for Providence, unfortunately, that was the case. Look, they are able to show up, but that's just mentality. coming into a game, you want that to be strong. You want your full focus to be on the game at hand, the match at hand, what's coming up next, this match here tonight. And when you're worried and have your focus on something else prior, like trying to just secure a roster in order to put something out on the pitch, that feels a lot like mailing in your project from the STEM side, right? There's a lot of similarities. Your real performance is going to go where your focus is in a certain moments, and I think for Providence that might hinder them a little bit.
Very much will, especially because you just got to play into your matchup, and you cannot worry. I had so many teammates on football teams as well as just on Rocket League teams and others. Like, okay, well, if we do this and then this happens opposite side of the bracket or the standings, then we're good. Just play your game. Play into this series. Win, and you're in. That is the name of the game right now for both these teams. And if you can be able to just go out and play with your teammates, have a ball, have a blast. You and I have seen it so many times, Bear. The team that has fun is the team that's going to just run the table. And it's got to be one of these squads tonight.
That's right. That's 100% right. I was going to bring that up too. It's all about having a good time, because the more pressure that you're focused on as well, that's not going to help either. So you want to just have fun with it, play your game for sure. And in a matchup where it is win and in, you don't have to worry about, well, this team loses, this team. So you control your own destiny quite perfectly. But that's so true. Leave it for the caster. Let us speculate, right? If this happens right on this side of the bracket, then maybe this will occur where I get a better seed, and then therefore we play XYZ. Forget about that. Let us handle all of that. Rest your brain. Let your brain really focus on comms instead. Trust me, it's not worth it. You only control what you can control. And then after the game, once you've won, because you had so much focus on the match, then you can look back and be like, oh, now that we won, now we're in a better spot. And I think that's the moral of that story.
Hey, and for us as well, you bringing up of casters having to look at all the analytics as well as the standings. The winner of this one, if my math is somewhere in the realm of semi-accurate, will be a 10th or 11th seed, depending on how that goes down, because someone's going to have 3 wins, and then we're going to have to do the 3-win dance between, I think, like seeds 12 through 15 or 14, somewhere in there. And then when we figure that out, then okay. But the winner of this one is not last seed, which means they will not have to play against seed number 5, which we've already, starting to suss out if that's going to be Olympic, South Mallard Creek, or Palisades. So it's very thin lines coming out here. So you don't have the worst chance available, even if you win. So that should not be discouraging, because some teams be like, well, we win this one. Now there's not enough time. It's not going to happen. No, just play. Like, stop just taking yourself out of the game and get yourself into it. And that's honestly, once you overcome that, then you can go do a flip reset super McTwist 940. Just like go out there and have fun.
This is Rocket League, not Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I think they're the same thing.
Kids these days won't even know what we're talking about. As I know, it's very appealing, me doing the 3-win dance. But that's not something you want to be involved with. Why do the 3-win dance when you can just do the I won dance? I am in the dance, and we will go dancing at the CMS Esports League Finals, which will be great. Week before the LAN, firing up. You're that team 5 through 12. What are you thinking? What's going through your mind, Hail Monkey Man, if you land right in the middle, let's say? What is your main focus heading into it? Because you'll still be in an online situation, so all that LAN pressure not there, but the implications are.
Ooh, now that's when it becomes sweaty, but that's also what an entire season is made for. You got to treat it like any other game, but the pressure is there. It's easier to say than do. I need to know, when it comes to that play-in, is it a single elimination play-in? That's what I want to know the most.
Yeah, the single elimination is going to be the case. So it's that do or die at that point. So.
Yeah, so that means you just got to come out and play. But you know what? We're finally here doing exactly that. It's going to be game number 1. And guess what? Q's already scored.
So quick to translate that one off the kickoff. Unfortunately, with the Providence with the 2v3 situation, and because of that, the kickoff was wide open for Philip O'Barry, and Providence couldn't adjust accordingly.
You're talking about attendance issues. Not great to have that into a 2v3, but either way, this is how you got to play it. one way or another. And Philippo Berry, they are not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. They're simply going to look at each other and trying to adjust on the fly. This is a 3v3 league, so 2v2 can be a little bit sus at times. And already this one starting to find Providence with some pressure downfield, something they won't have too often, and thus they have to rotate a little bit longer from each other, but they have to stick very nearby.
Yeah, every single challenge is going to be incredibly important. You don't want to dive in, otherwise you leave yourself in a 3-on-1 scenario, which may actually happen right now. As Q's able to transition that one back down the field. And that touch back down, that's all you need to do. Be simple, Philippo Berry. You have the numbers. You're on a power play for the entirety of this match, and you want to take advantage of it like they did just there.
Wow. That was a fantastic adjustment. You were talking about Destroyer needing to be kind of the leader of this group, which they have been several different times. And that's happening right now, but the adjustment on that shot to center it back up was massive. You're going to see Sid T, who did come up big for Providence a couple times before. And I need to see them find consistency here into this week, because obviously into a 2v3, it's not exactly great looks. And they won't have the leniency of bringing their coach in either, because that's what happened into that 2v2 last week. Sadly, we just won't be able to see this time around.
Yeah, that won't be the case. And especially in these high-end situations where it's your own fault. Right? Your team didn't show up, so you will have to, unfortunately, ride the consequences out. And Philippo Berry is making them pay to that sentiment. Now, Providence, they had a couple of challenges early against Philippo Berry team, even 2v3. You'll hear me running my mouth on man. You'll hear me, towards the end of a series, and the team just can't get it figured out in the passing front. They'll be like, all right, just default to bumps and demos. That's going to be a strategy that could turn it around right now. No, if you're Providence, bumps and demos are a necessity. You have to, and not go out of your way to do it, but find a timely demo bump that's going to be necessary in order to get any kind of space to work with when you're working 2v3.
I also wonder if this is a 2v3 for now game one, or if this is a 2v3 forever, because maybe they're not here, maybe they'll show up. The true strategy right now, Bear, is to score on your own net as often as possible and not skip the replay, because then they're able to extend that timer forever. Yeah, see? Yeah, big brain.
Yeah, keep us in the booth for all night. That's great. Thanks. Appreciate that.
No problem.
We're still having a good time. Maybe a little bit one-sided here in the 2v3. We're hoping that Providence can get it together like we were trying to get our stuff together earlier today. And so right now, Providence is down 4-0 because of it. But Providence is one of those teams where in a 2v3 situation, it's possible, but in this week, this is not the week to do it.
Yeah, this is the week that either you're showcasing that your team is ready to go, playoff bound, has that momentum and is fine, or you're drowning, just completely without air, trying to bend the post. It's also it's a day of posts. Like, shout out to the sides of the net. Really have been just MVP today. Destroyer will get into it. It's just been so good. I swear they buffed the posts.
That would be what it is. I mean, like a Valorant map that comes back in rotation, they just tweaked it a little bit, and it's different. Everybody's been off the mark. I think you're right. I know you're right. Actually,
instead of just wide bind, it's narrow bind, or so it's narrow posts.
Oh my goodness. T right back on it here, Legend. Wondering if they want to chase. The last thing you want to do is bunch up as a 2v3 situation, but that will not be the case. Providence drowning right now. If only they had Ocean Man to find them and bring them out of it, but right now, Destroyer going to work.
Destroyer is going to be one of those players that has to find this consistency into the postseason. Obviously, kind of knows this interesting situation that they could be in. What a nice layback backflip off of a give and go by Q. And so with 6 by good old Pob Philippo Berry, it's the Cardinals that are pretty much in control. It's a 2v3. It's one of those situations that you never want to have to be in. Hey, look. Double commit becomes a 2v1. These are the types of looks you need if you're Providence.
Yeah, you do. And that was almost in too, but you guessed it, another post. So this one will float right back out. Legend needs a touch. It does get around it. Lob high for Sid T, but unfortunately with the misread, we'll leave it for Legend instead, who's been trying to carry a majority of this weight through 2v3. And it's even more heavy when you have those listed against you. And this one will be horizontal. The wall it goes as Meatball turns. You want it next. Legend again, being a nuisance. At the very least, make it difficult for Philippo Berry, I guess. Just hoping that Providence can get a member of their team back in time for the rest of the series, and maybe then we can talk.
Really hoping that we can be able to talk about how the legend of this team will be available. You do have Ocean Man. I'm not exactly sure. This is not the greatest look if you're Providence at the back end of a season, especially the final week of the season. Maybe they did some extra math. We don't, and they're guaranteed to have that last seeded position. So they just kind of went, we'll see you next week or something for the play-in. But it's not how you want to enact it, and hopefully also there's not some extraneous issues that kept their player from attending. But 50 seconds remaining here in game number 1. Filippo Berry has done the job they've needed to. They continue to test this two-player combo of Providence, and Providence is getting extra reps about just how to play, I guess, kind of weird. It's not your normal stay of Rocket League, and okay, not quite playing the normal soft 1v1.
No, they are on it and looking to just cause any kind of problems to the other side. It's force them to try and kill some time. Right now, Legend turns on the side wall it goes. We'll look to get maybe one here on the board. And Destroyer again able to settle. We'll click out. That'll be another post. If we hadn't had enough of that all night long. And Destroyer in a 2v3 situation, still putting up goals even though it's 6-0.
Hey, just making sure that they're denied the ability to score 1 goal per second, okay? Because that was mathematically possible if you get 120-mile-an-hour pinches from the mid crosshair. So they've taken away the possibility. Is now mathematically impossible for Providence to catch up. So good job, Filippo Berry. Did a good job. But this one will go, in fact, to the Cardinals. They find game number 1. Not exactly the toughest task, but you know what? When you're trying to be playoff bound, you got to get the job done.
Yeah, imagine you show up to a match and all you have to do is just show up, and you've given yourself an opportunity to make it to the playoffs. And so, listen, Providence weren't able to do that. So Filippo Berry will love seeing that. And although it won't, really amplify them up, it won't really hype them up for the playoffs, right? Or at least, that last spot to try and make the LAN, it will at least get them there. And the last thing you want to do is linger on this and expect that to happen in the playoffs, because frankly, it's not going to.
They're not. And fun stuff in the chat. Coach Coolio Plutio says Palisades will avenge Providence. So I guess that's happening out there. Coach Buff, maybe. Nice. Hey, you never know. Maybe Coolio Plutio is like just the puppet master out there. So hey, get the 2v3 in gear. I believe in them, and maybe you can convince Filippo Berry to simply play one back. I don't know.
It's a possibility. We'll see what he says in chat. Surely he's a busy man coaching all these rosters that we saw him here tonight. To Puma Panther combination. Sid T just continues to hang up in the air. Legend puts Providence on the board 1-0 as they have the lead.
Okay, all right, Q kind of stuck on the ground, meatball on the double commit, and you don't see Destroyer anywhere. So when you get these rare moments for Providence to isolate into a 2v2 situation, they can take advantage. And this is a couple players that can play very fast, so job well done by Providence. They get 1 goal. That's something that, if you play a stellar defense, or even more so, find some offense that clicks again, you really could put Filippo Berry in a rough situation against your defense.
Backwards
and they're
again.
finding a second one.
What? Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, let's look at it this way, Monkey Man. How many times have you been in ranked and your team's been 2v3 and you continuously just put pressure on, they're not able to do anything, and flip the coin, right? Where you're frustrated. You're like, we're 3v2. Why aren't we winning this right now? That's got to be the thought going through Filippo Berry's head. It's like, hold up. What's going on?
You've described my entire rank experience just right there. 3v2 losing, 2v3 losing, but rare heroic moments when sometimes it pays off. So first minute, I didn't think I'd be saying this, dominated by Providence as they're up 2-0, and they're actually getting some takeaways from the Cardinals.
Legend continues to rotate around. Sid T is bought in to whatever Legend was saying in comms, it seems like, as he seemed to be that leader and has really talked Sid T into a really solid performance right where Legend was from the get-go. And Sid T for stepping up, but Q able to bury this one, so Filippo Berry will get one back here. And and everything is as it should be now, right?
Kind of. Sid T was left in a rough situation on that turnaround because you did have the drop down and Q with the finisher, but it's not quite there yet. We are minute 15. We're not even tied. Oh, this is the weakness of having to do a 2v3 because you don't have some of those kickoffs that play out evenly. So they do have to play a static back, and the defender comes up. Destroyer, who was 6 of 10, by the way, in the previous game, is able to get this one all knotted at 2 apiece.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking because Providence, it was all about just causing chaos at that point. You have the 2-0 lead, and, you know, obviously outnumbered. You have to cause chaos and just kill some time. Get some challenges. Don't be risky, but at the same time, know and get those timely challenges in. And they did until that kickoff happened. It threw their rotation off, what they were trying to do and accomplish against the side. And now, ever since, it's been Philip again.
Yep, Philip Berry. All right, as soon as they were able to slow the roll of Providence, Providence was winning off of a bit of extra speed and then executing through those speedy just challenges and then finding those isolated moments to put the Cardinals on their back. But Philip Berry responds strong. They keep Providence very much trapped on their back half, using the numbers game to their advantage. Destroyer with a great angle to set up. They send Q. And one of the few weaknesses that we have seen out of Philip Berry, even into this 3v2, is that they're sending the double commit with a little bit too much earnest, I guess, confidence, almost like arrogance. But you got someone like Destroyer, you can run behind them all day.
Yeah, that was not only a great setup the last time they were in the zone, like you mentioned, but just dribbling up Sid T rather, as they were backwards, so it's very difficult to read, but still, nonetheless, one that you want to be able to save. So, Berry fell behind 2-0. Ever since then, it's been Providence that's lost their step, and the last thing that they needed was a Philip Berry goal after they went up 2-0. Like I mentioned, that kind of devastates you because Philip Berry's like, okay, here we go. Now we're on track, right? Now we can start putting in goal after goal. That's what we've seen, and right now, Q with another dunk. This will be 5-2.
Yeah, that's the this is the gamer lean. This is the that can't happen twice, can it? And then they get scored on. Like, okay, and then it was elbows to knees, all focusing in, and Philip Berry now has set themselves up into a proper position, and they got the 7 they needed in the previous game. They don't need to hurt these poor players. You see Sid T waiting all the way back. Look how they're just primed for these shots, and Q will force the ricochet to happen.
Yeah, they're practicing their inward passing, which is not a bad idea here, you know, given the circumstances. So you're practicing your power play, and great placement on the shot. And that pass was very solid, and it gives your team the best opportunity to get to it in the defense. Will 9 times out of 10 wait for that challenge versus trying to cut it off in the passing lane. So a great idea to continue and practice those scenarios and make sure that you have it locked down for whenever you get your next matchup, you're ready to go.
Yeah, that felt like we talk about kind of regular soccer in different instances, and that felt like a very big set piece situation, and you don't often get to see those in kind of a static form, which was kind of a rarity, and so I enjoyed seeing it. Q looking over to Meatball, and actually was looking at the pre-jump of Destroyer as well. You had basically 2 sweepers ready to go as they were set to kind of pan across, but instead that becomes a clear by Providence. Sid T looking for the timing, and they just can't quite find the vector angle to attack. Destroyer will get another. So Philip Berry, they've gotten back to the score margin that they, well, maybe not margin, but the score amount that they had before. There's still 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, that was a quick 7 goals for Philip Berry. As I think it was a minute and a half that Providence had that 2-0 lead, or at least a lead, you know, 2-1 lead. But it's been all different ever since. Philip Berry continues to just drain Providence dry. Their defense just cannot find a solution, and it's been showing. And even with the fake shot there, he was able to read through his own teammate and put that one into the back of the net. And so you're a high school student, so you go for double digits, right? This is what you get 10 for Philip Berry.
Yeah. I mean, look, if there's anything I've ever learned about teachers is that they love extra credit. they love students that want to go for some, some of those bonus points. There's actually one class, I think it was my social studies. I did an extra project, and I had so many bonus points by the end of the year. I didn't have to take the final. So that's what these guys are doing. It's just about them being able to get to that final and feeling pretty good in the position they could be in, just finishing up this series. Now, we could have a magic moment where Providence finds their third, but Bilbo Berry is in a strong position right now.
Yeah, they have been since pretty much the get-go, and minus that whole minute and a half to kick things off, they definitely kicked it into gear since then, as Sid T is just going to leave it on a platter. Sure is going to try to steal this one with the tap down. He does. Showing off, showing some skill. Get on your top 10 board, Filippo Berry. Q set him up. Look at it.
Look at that. What a setup. That's a you see me. I'm rotating from the goal line. Oh, look at this negative angle redirect. Because why not? Let's take some shots. Let's just see if we can be able to put them into the back of the net and see what happens. 1 minute remaining. Filippo Berry, it was all scary in the first minute of play, but you would have thought that to just simply be a bad dream. Well, they have their dream catcher and everything has been put away. All the bad spirits gone. 45 seconds to go. Providence, well, gotta see if Coolio Plutio, good old coach, can find some magic to bring him into game 3.
Well, luckily they were just messing around. Now they're coming out swinging. Or at least that's his word. Not mine. But yeah, a dominant performance from Filippo Berry. And remember back to that time when that was the only thing that anybody would say in the game of Rocket League when you're in comms, which was, you see me? You see me? On that back wall, you see me? And that's all you would hear from anybody you knew. And you try to get that pass up there, and so satisfying when you're able to pull it off.
I actually thought for the longest time, because that's about that time when everyone was saying that, I started getting a little bit like into competitive and actually having comms. I thought that that was proper comms, and I hated it. I was like, why do people talk to each other? This is the only thing you're gonna hear. Like, you see me? Like, I'm pretty sure this isn't the way that I want to hear that the pass needs to be happening, but I'm pretty sure that Providence doesn't want to see how the scoreboard continues to get lit up. They scored 2 in a row at the very beginning. Filippo Berry, well, they took that personally. Michael Jordan meme complete. It's gonna be them 2-0 up in the series on match point before game 3.
Yeah, dominant performance as expected. And for Providence, you felt good for a little bit, but it got taken away pretty quickly. And it was all a matter of that kickoff, too. That kind of threw him off, and when Filippo Berry got the equalizer, it was just downhill. I mean, goal after goal. But Coolio saying the 2v2 is happening. So I don't know if he's actually speculating here and hoping that the other team will, or if they actually agree to it. I guess we'll have to find out when they get back to the pitch.
That's very true. Hey, maybe some dirty deals are being worked in this final week of the season. It's already a 2-0 series. Maybe we get all of one 2v2, okay? Maybe we get a single 2v2 for this game just to see how it goes. It does look like we've only got the 2. All right, okay, it is going to be a 2v2, and we've got... Wait, who is that? Wait, who is on the pitch?
Adonizer, I think it was. I could be wrong. I might have seen that incorrectly. Adonism, rather. I'm going with Cam. Cam on the board here, 1-0 from Filippo Berry. Apparently, they're 2v2 expert.
All right. Hey, you sometimes have to bring in the specialists to put these things away. So Filippo Berry, they've agreed. It's a gentleman's agreement, and they're saying that this is going to be a 2v2. And you know what? I believe in Legend and Sid T. Let's see what they can do. They've been playing 2v3 this whole time. 2v2 has to be easier, right? Oh,
you would think so. You would think so, but there it is, sitting there. Sid T needs to get to it. They can't, and it's in the back of their own net. Cam makes it 2-0 for Filippo Berry.
Even after Coolio slipped them a crisp $100 Monopoly bill. This is how they repay them with 2 goals inside the first half minute. Filippo Berry, they're shrewd and rude, but they're getting the job done. And, you know, even into a 2v2, this is kind of a flex of their depth of roster.
It really is. You bring in a sub here to really round out this Providence team and say that we'll take the 2v2. Not only that, but we'll throw in a sub and show that we just have skill from start to finish. That's a good sign for Filippo Berry, whose season hasn't gone exactly perfect. But I was able to see Cam last week, and Cam really does add a level of depth here for Filippo Berry. Adds a different style of play as well, as clearly 2v2 seems to be the strong point here. But either way, Providence find themselves down again, and that feels bad. Maybe all that energy was, you know, put into trying to win that 2v3, and at this point, they might just be worn out.
That's very true. I mean, there's a lot of Rocket League that can still be left to play. I'm so glad that you were able to figure out that's Adonis Cam, because I've had an entirely different thing to read. But right now we're reading, well, in case you don't know how lead speak work, that's Legend. I know that it's 13G, 3ND, but that's definitely Legend. That is becoming legendary, cutting this lead in half.
Yeah, absolutely. So now you're thinking that maybe that 100 Monopoly bill coming in handy. What color was that, by the way? I knew ones were white, right?
Okay.
The fives were
Fives
were
are pink.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yellow were 10s, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. And then 20s were green.
Yeah.
And then
where it's at, yeah.
And then 50s. Oh, what are 50s? Are they blue? No. Okay, we're gonna go back to this one. Legend is able to get one. Okay, we're gonna be talking about $100. Look, that's actually a great quiz. Legend with a great pickup is able to just outpace Cam, kept with this shot, and then finished it as a tumbler at the goal line. I know you guys didn't want to hear about Monopoly, but right now it's been Providence that's been monopolizing some of those most recent goals.
That was way better than the pun I was gonna make, where hundreds aren't blue, but Providence is.
Oh my gosh.
That was so bad. City looking to silence Bearlight here as Legend is using the corner to try to find some space there, but Cam is already on it. A back pass from Legend. That's never a bad idea when you have so much field to work with in a 2v2 environment.
It's very true. And you do have to kind of wait on some of these weird shots, and the defense exists, simply floating around. Sid T will be bumped on the side. Legends come alive. This is a player that was really the initiator between himself and as well as Sid T for Providence, and they need that to continue happening if they want to fight back against Philip O'Berry. And I don't know if Philip O'Berry only agreed to the 2v2 into this third game, and then maybe the next one they'll go back into it, but maybe they'll have that confidence and just say, you know what, even if we lose this, we'll continue playing 2v2. What a way to risk your playoff. But again, this is just kind of flexing what their entire program can do. Big clear by Meatball, and that's actually going to be pretty rough. Can they get there in time? Big save by Legend.
Yeah, Legend used his own crossbar this time. He used his own post because, I mean, that's the way it's been going all night. Why not just take a shot on your own net, because you're just going to hit the post anyways, right? And so,
yeah, that's true.
He put himself out there in a backwards fashion. That one's going to be dangerous, though. CT couldn't read it. Cam in the back of the net, 3-2 now, Philip O'Berry.
All right, what's your final answer, by the way? What color is 100? What do you think?
I don't know. I'm going to go, I think it's like a gray. Is it gray?
Gray? Gray's final answer?
Gray's final answer, I don't know.
It is light yellow. It's like tan, like the light yellow. Because white is ones, pink is fives, yellow, like deep yellow, is 10s, green is 20s, a tan is 100s, 50s are blue, and then golds are 500.
Oh,
or 500.
So I was way off.
Yeah, me too. I was like, what is 100? I don't remember this at all. But there you go. So if you want pea-colored money, make sure to play some Monopoly later. But otherwise, oh my goodness, Legend is able to win 2 big 50s, and this does end up at the backboard. He's able to go get that big boost, and they need to make sure they maintain this pressure. This is actually a great situation in the last 75 seconds.
Yes, and he turned quickly and was on the challenge before you could even blink. So now they have this opportunity. They bought a little bit of time, but that's a lot of boost to get back down to the ground if you're Legend. Plus, heading back into their zone, that's confidence in City to win it 50-50. The problem is, he left the ball right there into the corner where Meatball's able to get to. Tries to use the corner, but it's Legend that'll push it back out, and he'll work to the right side of the pitch. To the corner he goes. Tries to get the ceiling shot off, but couldn't quite connect. Although City will play it a little bit farther, forcing Meatball to get the 50-50. Luckily for Meatball, it's all the way back down the field, and Legend will have to work from here. Not a good touch, though. It's shipped out in front, and it's in. Cam able to stick with that one, and with 34 seconds left, maybe Philip O'Berry will just close it out here, even in the 2v2.
A series of unfortunate events. Legend had to fight against their initial turn, make the first challenge, and then on that second one, they took it away from their teammate for the clear into the corner, and somehow Cam was able to just make a pre-read like it just was nothing. So 2-4, Philip O'Berry, they took the gentleman's agreement, and they said, you know what? Good payments, love it. We're gonna play right into it. There's still time. 2v2s can go crazy, and there can be comebacks like no one's business, but it does have to be Providence that scores next.
They need to, and this is a good start here, as this one will cream around the side, and it is in the back of the net with 7 seconds left. And Hail Monkey Man, your quiz time. What's the average time it takes to score off the kickoff?
Guess what? It's the one that I calculated, baby. 7 seconds. Exact amount of time Providence needs in order to get this one. And with a little bit of extra bonus 0-second time, maybe the magic can happen, but they have to get this one moving north and south. They cannot carry it to their own backboard, and they gotta get underneath the ball to the corner. There's a chance. Oh, but the kill comes from Philip O'Berry. They will crush their dreams. 2v2, 3v2, doesn't matter. Boogaloo, they will boogie their way to a 3-0 sweep. And Philip O'Berry will be guaranteeing themselves into the playoffs. And Providence is in a weird situation now, as they have to hurry up and wait.
Yeah, they do. So, you know, props to Providence for keeping it close. And props to Philip O'Berry for going 2v2 and risking their playoff lives by doing something so silly as that. I mean, they could have hopped back to the TV3. They probably would have, let's be honest, like when it came down to it. But to make these games exciting, I know that we're thankful at the very least.
It would have been cool maybe if they just decided, you know what, we're just going to do a full crew battle. We're going to do 2s, we're going to do 1s, maybe we bring in Rumble, maybe even some hockey.
Gamers 8 style, you know?
Just full Gamers 8, just go the distance. But it will be the likes of Philip O'Berry. They're going to get to, no matter what, make it to the play-in round of this playoff, the pre-playoff to the big playoff, if you will. So they have a chance, so don't squander it, but Providence, they have to wait. They are going to be in a situation they have no idea right now if they're going to make that final seed, and so it's sweat time for the Providence Panthers.
Yeah, it's sweat time for sure, and I know that because I'm sweating, and I was from Providence, so it confirms this holds true. Everybody from the high school right now is sweating, and they don't know why. Even if they're not watching right now, they're like, "What is happening to me? Why is this so pressure-filled? Why is this happening?" So. My goodness. All right. Let's get to some STEM now as we have our matchup. It looks like we had a Philip O'Berry and Independence who both popped off. Look at them go. All 5 check marks for both of us, Hail Monkey Men.
Wow. W's. All right. Whichever way you want to make your W's. Yeah. Either way, look. Both these teams, both these STEM groups have been doing such great presentations. Their apps and their games have been so good. So I'm not surprised by this at all, but it is great to see this in the final week before all the competitions are remaining. And there are going to be a couple of teams that really will be aiming for the top, and I think a lot of squads recognize that pretty late.
They certainly did. For Philip O'Berry, they will walk away with a win in the series. Also will... went out on the STEM side. No, tie game. So it's a big win for them, though, moving to the STEM. Because like you said, like moving in with that kind of momentum is just about everything for a STEM team that's been looking to find a way to improve themselves. And I guess they did. For whatever they were able to do for this focus group, they seem to think that they nailed it from start to finish.
Which is awesome. Okay, hey, you know what? You took everything that you were able to learn and took all the extra feedback and just simply ran with it. So great job. And honestly, there's some key games out there as well as apps that I feel like are the front runners, but it's great to have all these teams just giving it their best effort, just like we see on the field and into the projects. You guys are killing it. And I've been enjoying seeing all the STEM projects from start to finish, week 1 to 8. But we still got a couple of matches to go tonight, Bear.
And they're one of the best ones that you will see here as Ardrey Kell faces off with Huff. The winner will get a bye round, by the way. So that's huge. Same thing applies for JT Williams versus Mallard Creek to end the night at 8:45 as well. Maybe a little bit before that. But Ardrey Kell and Huff will be our next matchup, which will happen right after this break. welcome back to the CMS Esports and STEM League again alongside Hail Monkey Man. My name is Bear Lights. As we have broken Hail Monkey Man, he is now one of those cats that do that back and forth thing. I'm not sure what's happening here, but
that hurts so bad to do. Don't do that, kids. Oh my god.
Well, yeah, let's do Rocket League instead. We got our next matchup coming at you now. Game number 1. Ardrikel looks to stay perfect. They'll have to battle Huff to do that. Both teams looking for that bye in round 1. Which team will solidify it here tonight? Hail Monkey Man, if you had to guess.
Ardrikel, of course. Because one reason and one reason only. The gang over with Huff is missing Ghost. They are on a week-long excursion to somewhere that isn't here. So, gotta be very careful, but if there were ever a team that is obviously on a winning streak and could be able to stop the likes of Ardrikel, who is this absolute titan, it should be the Huff Huskies. They've had a little bit of trouble with the upper echelon of squads, having taken a couple losses, but they're not without trying to be able to get down to it. And again, I called him out before. Boy Wonder has to be the difference maker for the squad, especially tonight.
It was the one that almost struck there all the way down the field. It was Ardrikel that was allowed the chance to step up on it, which we will switch the names, by the way, whenever we get a second here. As Ardrikel in orange and Huff in blue. Missing Ghost. Would you say they got ghosted here?
Maybe at least a little bit. I'm sure Ghost is going to tell us all about it. Look, they're in Hawaii, so I feel like that's a valid reason.
No
if you already have
Ghost, yeah.
Oh no, Rocket League things, you know. Rux is able to cause a ruckus as they have the first points here in this series. Big power flick from distance.
Dios mío. Mexicano coming through and able to win. Let's listen in.
It's a challenge.
All the boost you can take.
I'm cheating.
Alright, I'm going left. Just take all the boost you can. Just ball chase, if I'm being entirely honest. If they don't know what to do, then we're good.
Oh.
Go in!
Yes. Let's go. Oh, what's up? Oh, God. Good. Here comes the dopamine. Oh, my control came on flow. Oh, you go for kick off ninja. I got.
I'm banging this one. Oh?
Good second touch. Good.
Yep,
Oh,
good
I
forward.
missed.
So in a 1-1 game here, Huff being able to equalize and almost had an opportunity to score a little bit earlier. It is now Ardrikel back on it. As we still work on those names, we'll get the switch for you as soon as we can. But, you know, Huff in blue had the opportunity last to continue to press forward as well.
I'm loving the pursuit that we're getting out of Huff. Honestly, Huff has done a great job for the most part about fielding some of these possessions. Oh, and that's going to be one. You were calling out Creeper as being that person, that player, that opposition that's going to force Huff into these rough situations. And it's just a give and go. Ninja having to be the last one. Let's hear about it from these sides as we go to another listen.
Right. Let's go, guys. Come on. Come on.
Going second?
I'm mid.
You see me? Oh, Off backboard?
I got you. Alright, get back.
I'm playing time.
Got it.
I beat him. I'm gonna go one more.
I'm midfield.
Middle?
I'm in the mid.
Nobody up here?
I can't. I got now.
Taking their boost.
Yeah, give me left.
You?
I got angle. I missed.
I'm gonna play his touch. I missed.
Alright.
Oh, nah.
No, I got. Never mind.
That's fine. I'm blue boost second. I maybe got one.
You got creep?
Maybe in.
Get in.
Oh, good try.
I got.
So from what I've been told, Ardrikel has some comms, some pretty sweaty comms, and we got to hear that. So 2-1 now for Ardrikel, as they have been able to battle it back. We got the name switch for you as well. We're up to date and ready to go in action, but so is Huff, who's kept it way closer than maybe you imagined, Hail Monkey Man.
Yeah, I actually tuned in a little bit, and some of those comms were very sweaty, very laughable, and I mean that in a good way. They're laughing out there. They're having a great time. He's like, you see me? Haha. It just sounds like kind of choking on some of the words, but also there's a lot of just like hard, almost near IGL level kind of production. You have one very quiet, so I love that the comms kind of produce in that way for Ardrikel. They're sweaty about it, and that's how good they've been. The takeaway, the putback, and the third man is there. That is how you stack the box, and I feel like that's your true sidekick, and Barris is able to grim and bear and get this one through.
It's good to see Barris score. I wouldn't call it a slump, but he hasn't been producing offensively as much as we've seen in the past, but it's very much on it tonight. And Creeper has been, again, that solid third. We said he's going to be a difference maker and should be the third of this roster, and he has been proving that that has been the case. So, 3-1 lead, Ardrikel. No surprise here, although they would want more, it would seem. As, you know, we said in pressure situations, right, when you have something on the line, which in this case is a guaranteed bye for Huff, should they win this, I believe, you should start stepping up and playing a little bit better, and I would argue that they've been playing better than maybe we expected.
Yeah, that's very true, especially because they don't have at least one of their key players. But we've been seeing some good looks in general from the Huskies. Look at this continuous composition that you have. Ardrikel continues to just bury them. Rux will give another one. And, you know, I don't know much Spanish, but ay Dios mío, una gol. I don't know what the last one would be. Either way, it has been thorough by Ardrikel here in this first game. I do want to see what the next game is going to look like, because consistency will be key, especially if they want to go perfect on this regular season.
Yeah, they want it. We said that from the get-go. Look at Barris. Oh, my goodness. They are having fun with it. 5-1 now. And, yeah, that's been the case. They have really had a good time. We said that's the key. You know, keep it light, keep it simple, and they have executed from the get-go. And now Huff is feeling the pain of not having Ghost around to be able to bail them out in quite a few of these situations Ardrikel has been able to arise with.
Yeah, and so with a half minute to go, Ardrikel continues to dominate. Barris is just forcing some of this extra physicality, and that may be something that if they can keep up with the speed of Ardrikel, we could see Huskies of Huff contend or try to contend with. They've really not been able to get rid of them. They've not been able to get through them. They did get around them all of once, but as soon as possession is in the hands of Ardrikel, they are pretty darn safe with it. Big recovery, big save, and that one should pretty much do us to the final seconds, maybe to the goal line. One of extra touches, and I'm sure that those comms were sweaty till the end. But Ardrikel, AK, they will take game number 1.
Yeah, it was just them from the get-go. It seemed like it took them a little bit, maybe a minute, but then they were on their game ever since, and they were having fun with it towards the end. We mentioned and called out like the FaZe clan, oh, let's mess around, have fun, have a blast, and that's what we saw towards the end of that game. But just great stuff from the Ardrikel gang, and for Huff, it feels a little bit bad, but you're still going to make a playoff appearance. So it hurts here because you had your chance to take out the Titans and do a little bit of an intimidation act, or at least try. And right now, it's just it's yet to be seen.
Yeah, it's just it's not the exact same thing. And also, there's a big difference between Grand Champs trying to pretend that they are a pro team and Plats and Diamonds doing the opposite. So, you know, it comes down to simply know who you are, where you came from. But that's exactly what Ardrikel is going to continue to do. Big save by Boy Wonder from the backboard. Huff survives early onslaughts.
Boy, wonder where that was in game number 1, as they say. It's a big save, though. Big moment for Boy Wonder. Love that effort to keep that one away. Ardrikel just back on it again, and you're forced to make save after save, so it feels good when you get a big save, but you just know that it's coming back at you time and time again. And Ardrikel able to take the 1-0 lead off of Rux's beautiful setup to Creeper.
Whew, Rux didn't just get the pass, he bumped both defenders, once on the front and then the next on the back end, just completely disrupting everyone on the side of Huff. So I think Rux called themselves their own IGL after I was talking about it on their comm side, but you know what, it's very much painted true. So Boy Wonder's going to be given a love tap from Ninja, who makes a big clear, and they have to make the best use of this situation because Ardrikel, they set up so quickly for these counterattacks.
It's a matter of seconds before they're back down the field the other way. And it's just the inevitability of you know, a team that's undefeated, where you have that intuition of where your teammates are going to be, and they constantly hit those marks. That's another one, a pinch. And like, why and how? It just, they have that connection where they can just get at it and make it happen with such a purpose, and that was calculated, by the way.
I feel so bad for Boy Wonder. He just wants to take the ball away, and then it became a 4-on-2. And so Ardrikel, they're just giving a thumbs up to Boy Wonder. He gives him a nice shot. They give him a great pass, and we move forward because that one has to be an idea that the Huff Huskies, they just forget about. It was tried in transition, but wasn't tried nor true. Minute 15 here into the first game. Rux with a handoff, and that's just a great give and go. Creeper finds their third.
Now, that's just conversion, and it didn't even look like it was that quick to convert, but oh, just off the mark was Ninja, and they were able to read that too in the box. So I mean, credit where credit's due. Creeper read the miss and was able to work it. So let's hear those comms that we talked about prior, and we can get on the pitch now.
I'm off the ceiling. I'm off the ceiling.
Mine.
I got it.
You got Harris?
Bye. Oh shit.
No play time. I missed.
I got
Yep.
one touch into the double.
Nice.
Let's go.
Jeez, what a shot!
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Let's go.
You're so good, Paris.
Appreciate it.
Back right.
Oh, Maestro. 4 assists. And their
I'm
name.
up.
Yeah, you should
Yo, bumping. It's actually bump. Oh.
Sweatiest comms of all time. Why are they up 5-0? Because they are just communicating so quickly.
You could definitely tell. I think that was Rux that was saying it. They're like, "You're so good, Paris. You're so good," and I feel like that's some futuristic shade thrown at you. I don't know.
Who's a good boy? what is happening with this comms?
They're having a good time. They're scoring. They know how to pump each other up, and then they get sweaty with it all the time.
Oh man! Speaking of sweat, it's Rux. He almost got a double touch there too, but Farside couldn't quite convert. And Creeper couldn't touch it either, so Jeremiah had a chance to move out. And it's right into the hands of Barris, though, who finds Rux, and they connect with some sort of odd pass, but it works for them because they're Ardrikel. And Huff, unfortunately, on this side, it feels like a nightmare because there's just nothing you can quite do to escape what Ardrikel is able to do.
Ooh, big takeaway though, and Ardrikel, yeah, they seem just total control. As soon as the ball exists on the field, they're already all over it. I mean, look how they're on their own back half. They pretty much set piece their way into these positions, and this is one of the few challenges that did force them to have a second look at it. But look at the takeaways.
No.
As soon as they have the third man, then they're just controlling it. We're gonna listen in to the opposite side. Let's see what Huff's talking about, especially off this next turn.
I saw it coming too. Not much you can do.
Dreads. Yeah,
Who would have thought grand champs can beat champs?
for real.
A revolutionary concept.
Ninja salt. Ninja mode.
Oh, Ninja, that's you? Oh, keep going.
Go off, queen.
Yo.
That one ending.
You got?
You hit those, Ninja? Oh.
Off.
Oh, no.
No. Jeremiah selling.
Where it was.
Oh my gosh, bro. I'm so mad.
Well, those comms were depressing. But also having to have a little bit of extra copium to get through it, as well as this one will stack its way up to 7 with 81 seconds to go.
Yeah, and if you're Huff, the only thing you can really truly be saying is at least we didn't have bats come into our school and shut down for a couple days. That is a real story. Anyways, batting 1,000 is Ardrikel right now at his 7-0 mark. As I think we lost Hill Monkey Man, so I'll continue. As Barris sends this one deep. Listen, I had to find a win in Huff here somewhere. They just seem so down, and they need a little bit of a spark to light up their day a little bit.
I can understand it. You know, when one of your players abandons you to go to Hawaii, and then this is for kind of a big situation. Then I can understand. And then you're pretty much passing it, and then your opponent has to take away the goal. And in fact, they want you to score one so we can get to a Brazil. They may score for you. They're all flying by. Yeah, they wanted this to be a statement. So Huff without Ghost Ninja, or rather, they just. Or not Ghost Ninja, but just Ghost in general, Ghost Adapt. You got to think that maybe this will be a different series. Maybe this is a different game, but right now, it's one that Ardrikel is in massive control of.
Yeah, they've really taken it in their own, and will continue to do so towards until the end of the series. So we'll see just how Huff can respond to Ardrikel. It's definitely not likely. In hopes are definitely dwindling at this point, especially as you can tell from the frustration of their communication. But it's just a Ardrikel team that comes in hot, and even had a producer that was trying to lie to me, say that Ardrikel is not going to perform as well as they typically do, and as is typically the case, Ardrikel, doing Ardrikel things.
As is also typical, never trust in a production. Either way. Ardrikel, 7-1. They keep it that way. And we'll be going to game number 3 with them in control of the series. AK all day. I'm pretty sure that's what they say, right?
That's 100% what they say. And that rhymed too, by the way.
It did.
And then I just added to it too. Wow, we're having a blast.
We're just poets. We didn't know it. Oh my gosh. It's rough. Okay.
Goodness, it is. Yeah, let's head it down the pitch again. Game number 3 underway. Ardrikel looking for that sweep action, trying to get it on Huff and really solidify and intimidate literally everybody. I think they've been doing that since Season 0, honestly. So nothing's really changed in the Ardrikel camp. It's just everybody's going to be after them at LAN and try to get in their heads mentally. That might be the only way that a team can take them down.
This is a good enough squad in this league that the only way that you get around them, you have to get rid of their what are those? The pizza bites. You got to get rid of their food source. So if you see them at LAN, just take away the popcorn. All right, slap the food straight out of their hand.
Oh man, that was definitely a majority of my lunches back in the day. Had to be those pizza rolls. So
they're so good.
When I was playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater, actually, that was the way to go back in the day. So, well, those days are over, I suppose.
Core memory activated. There you go. That's your little bit of extra feel good for the day. So far, Huff, they had all of a single goal, and they were tied up a while ago. But in the first minute of play, here's some feel good. They have, in fact, not been able to score. So Huff has kept them out of their back half, and they're looking for an opportunity. This is starting to be a Huskies group that is on that Iditarod trail, and they're trying to run it against Ardrikel in this third game.
And a couple of touches there from Ardrikel don't land. So this has got to be the point where you step it up and really take it to Ardrikel. This is the time to really define your gameplay as it stands right now and be able to refine it so that way you're not on the wrong side of things come end of game number 3. Right now they're doing a good job to hang around. It's not the Brazil of which we saw last game. They're hoping they can be the Hawaii so they can summon that ghost that they happen to be missing throughout this series as Rux will shut down a teammate there. They had an opportunity, but messing around, we'll get to him there.
Rux took every big boost in front of his teammates. Not only did he save his teammate's shot, he then took every big boost on that side of the pitch. What? Rux, why? Just absolute fiend out there. Oh my gosh. Ardrikel obviously having a little bit too much fun, but big double demo is going to take Boy Wonder and Creeper out of the play. And this will be another clear at the midway mark we're approaching, and the demos are starting to come out in surplus.
Yeah, they are. They are constantly just frustration demos. It's been keeping Huff around for the time being. And so now they have an opportunity. To the back where they go, a chance for a read, a touch back and in. Huff has the lead here. Boy Wonder has made it 1-0.
Wow, high above the mucky muck and castle made of clouds. Boy Wonder, oh my goodness, great adjustment. Let's listen into some of that victory songs.
Let's go. I got to go.
Keep this momentum. If we can get more than one goal in a game, that would be hype.
Or if we can win this, alright?
Barris is on the back wall. Be careful.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh. Is there another?
Nah, Bears is it. Oh. Oh.
I'm in there with them in the mosh pit.
Okay, yeah.
We good, we
You
good.
got that, Jeremiah?
No.
No one's on you? Good stuff?
Bears is again on the backboard. He's off in this corner.
No.
You got that, Ninja? Oh, on four. Okay.
I got it. I got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'm third man.
No.
Give me, you're talking about sidekicks, you know, and of course you brought up that boy wonder, aka Robin, and I appreciate you, man. That was great.
No problem.
Artrikel appreciates getting on the scoreboard as they have equalized at 1 now. And yeah, we move on, and minute 36 left. Huff keeps it close. Their defense has been stepping up. They've made a couple of saves.
That's very true. And the only one that really kind of came through, especially for Ardrikel, most recently was just a bend around the post, and it was a misrotation. They go for the immediate sidewall challenge instead of rotating all the way back, and so that one will hurt them, and that's a coaching moment, trying to get this set up. Rux gets it laid up, but Barris just can't chase fast enough because there's 3 defenders stacked in front of him. Lo and behold, players stacking the net is tough to get through, and Rux is just causing disruption. Backboard, can that read be found? It does by Yak Jeremiah into a 2v1, making a 1 and a 1-2 combo. Oh, Boy Wonder caught on Young Nasty Man. What a duet as they're able to get this one hit and a lead back.
Robbing them on the other end, and then able to transition back down. They huff, they puff, they blow down
Alright,
the
guys.
lights.
If you want to
as
beat
they
you,
have
it's
a
on us.
2-1 lead here. Let's listen in and hear how they're dealing with this.
I got. Touch. Oh, no.
Let's go!
Nice. Nice.
Nice. Nice.
Hey, little thread.
Needle to the thread, man.
Okay.
Thread, man. Thread, man.
I got. Fine.
Yours tree? Yours tree?
I'm taking it.
Yours, hers?
Watch his ground pinch. Oh no, you weren't
It's you,
there.
Rux.
I got.
Unfortunate on the triple commit that just went through, but we do see that Ardrikel was able to respond, and they did so with a bit of, I guess, comedy, laughter. They keep very positive on the Ardrikel side of things. Why wouldn't you? You still have the series lead, and they do find a responding goal. Barris actually has the flip in his back pocket, and the challenges are coming through for Huff. They just have to score here in regulation late, but they also have to keep from getting scored on. That could happen in this moment, but Rux is denied. The shot put back, and a 0-second opportunity. Oh, goodness! Rux will not be denied.
Nope, they were crashing the box, and you had a feeling after that shot that Barris was going to score it. But where is Barris? Not the goal-scoring winner here. It's going to be Rux instead, as Ardrikel does go 3-0, and it happens off a 0-second goal. And man, oh man, like you said, the voice comms, you're having fun with it. A little bit of an echo I heard. Must have been from the Bat Cave there, Hail Monkey Man.
It was. Look, I just wanted to hear it. Look, the only way for me to listen, I got to be like this. Like, hello? Yes, all right. That's a large pizza and also what's going on in there. So it all worked out. But either way, we do get to see a 3-0 by Ardrikel. They go 8-0. Ardrikel looking superb, looking supreme, and honestly, looking unstoppable if anyone else is not going to be able to take them down. We've had, what, one team take them to Game 5? And I want to see if they can be able to do it again.
Yeah, 100% there are teams in this league that can beat Ardrikel, but it seems like it has to be a perfect storm, right? You have to have somebody off your game for Ardrikel to some degree, and then you have to control the game from basically start to finish. So it means quick challenges, it means turn and make it difficult for this team to find any kind of space. Can they do it? Which team can do it? It's been JT Williams in my eyes, but South Mecca's given them a run for their money too. Going to the land, who's got the better shot in your eyes?
whoever is, you know, got the most moxie. It's got whoever's able to just handle land. I've seen teams crumble at land. That's very true. Bracket players, bracket teams, as well as just being able to play in those situations. But Ardrey Kell, they look like the type of squad that can crush kind of anyone. Right now, they're number one, and they should be for good reason. They're undefeated. They've proven they can come back. But it's who's best on the day, who's able to take a weekend and run with it. So it's up to you guys. You say you like to make these games fun. Well, you better make them fun for yourselves. Better go get those wins.
No doubt. South Mech has put the target on Ardrey Kell. I see Skimmit in chat as well. Skimmit looking to bring it to his teammates that he uses for Stay Plugged In other events that I've seen him out with, and hanging out with Rux and Barris from time to time, and putting on quite the show at some of the lands that I've been to. So looking forward to more of that, but it makes the storyline even a little bit more sweeter. I think South Mech does have the better opportunity than JT Williams, and I'm going to get Galen, their coach, yelling at me for that one for sure. But let's go into the focus group here. Ardrey Kell took on Huff as well in their stim portion, and both teams, as they deserve, get all the check marks from start to finish.
Hey, you know what? Big ties. And of course, we know that these programs are doing great project work, and being able to just kind of get at this portion of the season, you're playing with your best Rocket League, you're playing with your best projects, and so job well done. Huff Huskies, they come up 0-3, but they get exactly what they need to with all the work they've been doing on their awesome prod. So can't wait to be seeing all your final projects, by the way. I intend to play some of those video games. I don't know if there's going to be like a demo area, but I want to play a few of them, as well as mess with some of those applications. Some of them may actually try, help me fix my finances. Some, maybe, I don't know. But maybe we're in too deep.
Shot. Yeah, it could be. It could be. So we brought up JT Williams as one of those teams that might make it the distance, and they're going to be facing off with Mallard Creek to finish off this stream here tonight. And we get to see on the pitch, Grassy, Nutella, obviously do work, but they brought in a new third recently, and we'll see if they get to the pitch. Right now it looks like Tracker's playing for, nope, it is, I am absolutely wrong, it is Tracker, actually I'm right, Tracker's on here, and one of my favorites from a couple weeks ago, you remember him,
Just trying to start the car, why not? But Mallard Creek, are they for real, or this just for play? That's a lot of questions coming up. Is Mallard Creek gonna be that just extenuating force that can maybe challenge the upper three? And right now they're doing well at just kind of maintaining that level of speed. They have a single conditional challenge coming up field into the box, but it's going to be up to JT Williams, I think, right now, because they're one of the sole teams remaining with just one loss. In fact, they're the only other ones. I think that, if I do not mistake it, it was Huff that had one loss. So they're aiming for that number 2 position.
They certainly are. JT Williams, they were the ones to take Ardrey Kell and put them down 2-1, right? And so Ardrey Kell was on the break of, losing their perfect season, and it was all due to JT Williams. They had Nutella in. Right now, Tracker, known as a star in their Valorant team, coming in playing some Rocket League here. So gotta get you the news on it as far as why Nutella's not in. But either way, yeah, you're right, Mallard Creek, this is a break-it series, right? You have to imagine that they're going to basically judge where they are standing-wise with the rest of the squads that will also make land based on their performance here against one of the top teams here in JT Williams.
Yeah, and this also kind of really comes with a late season defining moment for me with this squad. This is going to be a dangerous one. Pre-flip's a little bit too fast, waiting on the waterfall down, but it was a floater all the same. Great takeaway, and that actually could be a foot race. And Dab the Sav is going to be giving up back corner boost. Good communication so far by Mallard Creek. They've not done anything too crazy to try and make their way out of their own back half. Tracker, being that dual sport hero, definitely trying to flex so that they can take on any sport that exists between keyboard and mouse or controller. At the midway mark, though, of game number 1, I mean, I know this would be close, but I am surprised we're scoreless.
I am as well. Mallard Creek just not doing anything too risky, and I think that's the most important part as to why they haven't given up much. Usually you have Nutella there for JT Williams, who can honestly put the pressure on pretty frequently, and it makes all the difference. Mallard Creek, I don't think I've seen Dab in there as well, unless the name's changed. Again, KSN Predator, lots of new names here towards the late end of the season for just about every team we've seen. I mean, this does kind of have the NFL vibes, where you have some players resting on the last week of the season.
Oh.
Not something that I'm quite about. You know, you want to get as many reps in as possible. Grassy will eventually break through. JT Williams, as expected, on top 1-0.
This is in particular, I believe, the trio that I saw last week. It was Dab the Sav, Avalanche, and who is Predator. So yeah, this is the main three that I've seen for this group in particular. So maybe they had some late-term change-ups. I also was only seeing Mallard Creek like later in the season, because not B stream but Olive stream, if you will. We got some different matches than you guys over here. So it was. Maybe they've just decided to change things up. Maybe they got some students that were all of a sudden invested into some esports.
Yeah, they weren't feeling blue, and I'll love that.
Wow.
I couldn't. That was such a reach. Oh my goodness.
It was, hey, look, perfect execution, but quite the reach.
It really brought me to the creek, man. This one is out
Oh.
the center, off the post. We've seen so many times tonight. And that would have been so good for Mallard Creek. Unfortunately, they weren't able to convert yet again in a big moment.
Yeah, and this is, for as patient as they've been, they've not committed a lot of kind of fouls, some defensive sins, and this is really boiled down to just a slow execution piece. Grassy is just going to give it over to who's able to go in there and just take a fat score. Look at this twirl, pirouetting their way to an assist.
They're just about to say the same thing. It's glued to the front of your car, so you're free to basically do whatever you want to in the air. And for him, it was definitely a bit of tiptoeing and a little bit of ballet, if you will, up the air. And gives JT Williams the 2-0 score line. Another one, no Grassy. Go off the crossbar and back out. Mallard Creek still looking for their first goal in this one. You feel good about keeping it within 2 against this JT Williams team, but you have to really earn it. And again, momentum is everything going in the land. And this is unfortunately going to kind of dwindle down the clock here as we head down towards the end of this game, number 1.
You know that JT Williams wants to prove that they are the only true rival of Ardrey Kell. They really have been contesting pretty much everyone that comes at them, be it Olympic, be it Garinger, Huff, anyone. And they want to showcase that it's going to come down to this squad right here in Ardrey Kell into that grand final. So they got to take care of teams like Mallard Creek, and Mallard Creek played very patient. I expect maybe a more breakout kind of like Devil May Care style going into game number 2, but maybe it could be more of the same. For right now, game 1 will end with at least 2-0. JT Williams taking this first game. And they did so just with pure control. Nothing too crazy, just enough.
It was. And mechanics were involved, as you saw in the pirouette in the air. But it wasn't, they didn't force any kind of plays to develop, right? They let the play come to them. And in these certain scenarios, maybe that's not the way to play, because you want to play aggressively against the teams that can really bring it to you, like the rivals in Ardrey Kell. But at the same time, you know your opponents here. They've obviously looked at some of the games that this team has played across the pitch, and yet you're able to apply it. So Mallard Creek looking a little bit exposed. Their offense was non-existent, and it wasn't because they weren't, finding passes out of the zone and getting stuck in their own zone. They let the play come to them, and JT Williams was able to work out of their own end, and they were perfectly okay with that. And that's one of the reasons why they have this 1-0 lead heading into game number 2.
Oh boy, no, and now they got a 1-0 lead in game number 2. So, bit of chaos, bumps, Yeti Avalanche looking for a better touch than this one, and that's just Mallard Creek kind of imploding in the first 6 seconds. So, okay, dust that one off. That one didn't count, no big deal, the game just started. All right, get back in a good headspace.
Yeah, 0-0, right? It never happened, right? Kickoff. Here we go, 5 minutes on the clock, basically. That's how quick they were able to strike. This one will find its way down to Mallard Creek, though. It was Yeti trying to find a quick touch over one, but couldn't quite find the solution. And it's back down to the grounds, where AMM will hold on to it and waits for the challenge of Mallard Creek. And that's what I'm talking about, that patience. And right when Mallard Creek were trying to get that touch, they put it right back into the hands of JT Williams.
This is such a team that has such good control, not just of the ball in possession, but of their cars as well. The mechanics are just so smooth. I'm able to get it over to Grassy, who's just already in position. Great dive from the top of the box, and what a give, because that wasn't just a single touch and go. That was a launch point and then a punch to get it out from that corner and into a midfield pass.
Work their way through. I've always said it every single week, and you know, fans might be, you know, a little bit tired of me saying it, but JT Williams is legitimately the most creative team that I've ever been able to see. Number one in the STEM side, right? Let's talk about their presentations. They're always insanely good, right? And the use, you know, their ability to make jokes, but also at the same time be real. And they just find ways around defenses. And it doesn't matter who you go up against, because they have a different solution, a tailored fit solution to every team they go up against. And I feel like their next solution, their next suit, if you will, that they will tailor fit will be Ardrey Kell. It's just a matter of, is it going to happen this season at LAN, or is it going to happen in future seasons? Either way, it feels like they're working their way towards that goal.
Yeah, that goal especially, right there.
That one specifically, yeah.
A minute 13, and we already have 4 goals in favor of JT Williams. So Mallard Creek is being exposed after their long run, and basically today is a day for streaks to die, from what we've seen on the stream. And so JT Williams, absolutely, I've seen their STEM projects. This program, these students exude honestly happiness. They seem so just kind of motivated to do exactly what they're doing on the field, to be even more creative when it comes to getting their STEM projects done. And you can tell that is just a healthy environment for all these kids to be in.
Yeah, it is. It really is. You see the support that they bring last season's LAN. They had everybody. Well, not everybody from their school. That'd be pretty ridiculous. They had a very good portion, right? Their fan base was outstanding, and they have support from everybody around them. And that's definitely showing through all the projects that they put together on the STEM side. Also on the Rocket League side, too. You can tell that motivation is definitely there. They play over their skill level sometimes. I know Nutella's in that GC3 range, but all the rest of the team just now are maybe approaching Champ or GC, you know, right in that area. And, you know, for Ardrey Kell, they definitely outmatch that, but JT Williams finds a way. And they constantly are just on top of it all the time. Motivation is quite literally everything.
Yeah, and honestly, they seem like like you said, they're playing well above their level. Probably playing with Nutella and more. Their mechanics have probably gotten even better, and they probably breached at least GC. We could be seeing probably an SSL between these kids at least. Less than 3 minutes to go. We do see at least one score, so the game is not over, but it is a very slow grind that must be claimed by good old MC Mallard Creek. Great pickup tracker. Oh my goodness, I've never seen someone bully like that while also maintaining a just very fluid dribble. But on the opposite side, Predator trying to find the breakaway, looking for the snatch, grab, go, and dunk, but that just cannot execute because, again, Tracker's in control. Pre-flip jump and just trying to get it to Grassy, but took it all the way down the field himself.
This just shows the depth, too. I mean, even Tracker is absolutely outstanding here. What a fake from Grassy. That's what I'm talking about. For a side. Oh, it hit the post. Well, tonight is the night where streaks die and apparently posts die as well. They've been absolutely bombarded throughout the entirety of this night. And from Mallard Creek, an opportunity, though. The shot. Oh, again, the crossbar. Now another opportunity off the crossbar as well, and JT Williams will dig out. And that was an opportunity that had to go for Mallard Creek.
I wholesale believe that these players are trying to put their name in dents in the crossbar and posts. This one will go through. We're one away from taking a trip down to South America, but honestly, this one has been fairly well decided since the first minute and 13. JT Williams. What do you think about teams like, or what do you think about like performances like this? Obviously, you've been talking good about JT Williams. Mallard Creek came in with something to prove. First game was very close, 2-0. Was that all of a measurement by JT Williams as to how they want to play in the next game? This one against Mallard Creek.
This one has been really been a statement piece, more so for JT Williams than I think it is for Mallard Creek. I think that this could have easily been one where Mallard Creek is pushing and really giving their all. You can tell the emotion and really the effort that they're putting in. But sometimes it's better to play smarter, not harder, right? And right now that's been the definition. I think this speaks to JT Williams' ability to give themselves an opportunity no matter what. And then when they're able to do just enough to throw Mallard Creek off their game. In game number 2, you see them come right back out and get a little bit flustered, frustrated. They quite literally wore down this Mallard Creek team in game number 2. And so that's one of the reasons why I think we see a very similar outcome in game number 3, because it's rare that we see these teams bounce back against a team like JT Williams, because once they figure it out, they can really turn it up the heat.
Yeah, this is a team that they vie for good critical thinking and solution making. So, it looks like they're gonna be able to finish out game number 2, which means game number 3 will be on the way with, you guessed it, a match point and another chance for a sweep. Finally getting us to Brazil. The 7-1 hit in favor of JT Williams. Have you had a week yet this season, Bear, of every single series being a sweep?
We have a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was just wondering. Just curious.
It definitely happened a couple weeks ago, I believe. And then prior to that, I think it was earlier in the season. So it has happened. Is it going to happen again? Has that been the case here tonight?
Yeah. Every single one.
Oh, my. But we've had a few that have been close, at least.
It's true. It's true. But that's also playoff form. It's about being at your best or being able to beat the rest. That's all that matters. And into the final second, JT, they're trying to do exactly that. Can the number 2 seed remain number 2? Well, they're just going to have to do that against Mallard Creek one more time.
Now I'm rooting for Mallard Creek, because we can't have all sweeps on on the almost at the main on the blue channel. So we continue into game number 3. Do I see it happening? Unfortunately, I can't say. I think JT Williams closes out here in 3. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to toss 5 minutes on the clock and start game number 3 now between these two. JT Williams looking to close out Mallard Creek, wanting to make a statement piece. If not one game, they want it all, but they're going to have to go through JT Williams already on the board.
It took 6 seconds and a defensive misrotation last time. This time, double fake out, totem pole stacking shooters. And you're talking about the creativity of JT Williams. They send 2 high and low, and I would be so scared if I was Mallard Creek having to choose where I'm going to jump in front of. Oh my goodness.
They keep at it. Grassy again. Just in their face, right in the box. Tracker off the kickoff was able to win this one forward, and when Yeti couldn't get that one, you just leave all sorts of space for Grassy. I mean, I feel for Predator there, because there's quite literally nothing you can do in that moment except for try an immaculate save, and it just wasn't in the cards this time around.
No. So the good news is there's plenty of time. That also could be very bad news, depending on how you want to view it for Mallard Creek. For them, this is another situation, just like with Huff, that you're guaranteed to be in the playoffs in some form or fashion. Is it an upper 2? No, because you're at least at 5-3. Is it in the upper 8 or 12? Yes, so you're going to have another look at it. But JT Williams, they will have to finish out this series. If there's ever been things that I've told teams that they need to do, it's make sure to finish a game. I've seen too many reverse sweeps. They're starting to get some of these challenges, really getting nose to the grindstone, but that was a missed position out in midfield, and that'll be a giveaway of this test that JT Williams is given to Mallard Creek. Mallard Creek is starting to bear down upon them if they can.
Have challenged and forced JT Williams around them, which is step number 1. They've really kept it tight within their own box, and Grassy's had to penetrate that early in order to get this second goal to begin with. So I like what they're attempting to do here to JT Williams, executing a whole different ballpark as Grassy from an angle that I didn't think was going to happen, to be frank. But when I start doubting JT Williams, I convince myself to wonder why I do it.
Yeah, I at this point, there's no reason to. Especially, look, that flat angle off that corner.
Yep.
Very tight, but Grassy's been on the grassy knoll, and there's Sniper, and they're able to just put that one straight through. Another one, Tracker off the post. Wow, okay, so they did it a little bit slower than they did last time, about 8 seconds slower, but they still find 4 before the first minute and a half.
So Tracker has the accent over the E's. So does that make it Tracker?
Or is it Or is it Traquel? Like weird
Yeah.
Traquel. Like
I was
weird
thinking-
French?
You know, why would it turn French all of a sudden? I think it's.
I don't
PR,
know.
maybe. Running into it. Oh man, he shot here high, Grassy. Right back to it. But it'll be Mallard Creek that's able to touch Grass, or at least a shot. And Dab back at it. You'll try to challenge as well. Grassy goes high. Dab looking to do a little bit of damage here, but it's JT Williams continuously just finding the back of the net. Okay, Tracker just absolutely a menace in Valorant. He was, in fact, on the All-Star team.
Wow.
For Valorant, and I did not know that Rocket League was even in his repertoire, and yet here he is, showing that he can do both.
I like that you added an extra bit of Frenchiness to that too.
Yep.
The repertoire.
you like that?
Just full Frenchman. I wonder if he plays chamber.
It's definitely
Too meta?
to look out for. It used to be.
Actually,
It's
wait.
for a
What?
while.
True. Well, wait. What rank is good old Tracker in Valorant? Do we know?
I'm not sure I have that information in front of me.
Okay. Okay.
If Prod wants to give that to us, they can, but
Nah. At this point, it's a foregone conclusion. Probably Radiant #1. So at the halfway mark of game number 3, JT Williams in massive control right now over Mallard Creek, who is being absolutely shown that they have some things to work on. The good news is for everyone here that has at least a chance to make it into the playoffs, they have a week to get things done. They are playing this next play in the next week, right?
they should be playing. So the play-in should be a week before LAN happens. So that'll be 2 weeks from today, I believe.
Okay, so you get 2 weeks. Okay, that's even better. Mallard Creek, just level up, pull a Goku, hyperbolic time chamber, get good, and should be able to just match up against JT Williams, easy peasy.
Yeah, time what? Chamber?
Hyperbolic time? My Dragon Ball Z weebness is showing. My apologies.
JT Williams has been a tour de force right now.
Oh.
Push back. And now back to it is AMM, who couldn't quite find the far side. And dribbled right back down the pitch. And Dab looking at some open space here. And will be able to challenge. But again, a demo on the other side will bail out JT Williams. They're not looking for a sweep here. They're looking for a shutout as well in game number 3, just to put that exclamation point at the end of the statement.
Not quite the goal explosion we were looking for, or at least they were looking for, as they did get the demo on the back end of that shot. But yeah, JT Williams is looking to just absolutely deny the remainder of this game from Mallard Creek, and they may very well be able to do it. This has been a very fluid, very easygoing, and pretty much anything that they want to do, they've done with nearly effortless just concepts. So job well done to them in their season. This will be JT Williams at 7-1 for the end of it all, coming up only one spot short of the #1 seed of Ardrey Kell. And you know, with them being #2 and them #1, that there could be a heck of a matchup into LAN time. We'll have to wait a few weeks before either of these will be reactivated. 20 seconds to go here, Bear. This is their victory lap.
This is it. They're free to mess around, and yet you don't see the pre-jumps that you see from other teams. I think I just said you see more goals, but you don't see the fancy nature of those goals. So yes, a victory lap, but I do think it highlights something important here, which is the discipline by this team as well. I think, you know, they're not the most talented team in the league, and yet they are constantly in the conversation of being a top 2 team, and they quite literally in the standings are. And I think discipline goes a long way with that, alongside their ability to create plays and be creative, like we mentioned, the critical thinkers of the group here in Charlotte, and it definitely shows. 7 goals in 7 seconds left.
Hey, 7 seconds, that's enough time to have Mallard Creek go and score 1. If they're going to have a double Brazil, might as well go for it. And Grassy's actually waiting all the way back. They're trying to redirect, and they do so! All right, so we get to have 2 free flights to South America. And, you know, JT Williams has just showcased they can do whatever they want.
They have. And it's their willpower. You know, toss it to me. I can finish this off with the quick Brazil. So JT Williams having fun with it too. You can be disappointed and also have fun, by the way. Just don't lose yourself in the process. And so a lot of JT Williams fans will be in the house and be very happy as they will march on to the number 2 spot in the rankings. And we'll be at LAN. We'll see you there. And we'll also see a lot of other teams that have made their way through to the bracket. We'll have to sort through all of that information out in a bit. And not on this stream, but it will be updated in the CMS Esports League Discord server. So keep eyes on that to see where everybody fell in the seeding department.
I mean, if we remember anything, we got RGKL 8-0, JT Williams 7-1. We know that Huff and South Mech are both 6-2. We know that Mallard Creek and Rocky River are both at 5-3. So we're missing just a few key components of what Olympic, Palisades, and Garinger. But either way, that really kind of susses out that little situation, because that's for somewhere in that 3 and 4 spot. We have a lot of teams that are going to be somewhere in 6 and 2. It's going to be a very narrow margin who's already qualified for LAN.
Yeah, I think Granger has the best chance because Hermione knows all of the magical spells.
That's true.
And I see why you made the mistake. I'm a big Harry Potter fan as well. So. Yeah. Oh, all right, well, a decent night here for CMS Esports League. Everything on the line and the teams that were going to show up did, right? It's all 3 zeros all night long, but it's still entertaining because it's like, who wants it, right? Who's bringing it? Who's going to go not only to LAN with that momentum, but who's going to, approach the play-in in that same aggressive nature? And I think we got a sneak peek of who it might be.
I am very surprised as well as excited now to see South Mech. So very cool to see Skimmit running around. Ravens, I still believe in you, but you got some work to do. Phillip Berry, you know what? They showed up. Let's also check out the STEM side. We do have Mallard Creek and Rocky Ravens. So 5s across the board, tied. These programs, of course, all showcasing that they took those groups and really kind of just ran with them, looking really darn good.
Yeah, Rocky River Ravens, excited to see the Rocket League team and their STEM side. So checking every single box quite literally. In Mallard Creek, I mean, if you're Tarkin Malcolm, you got to be pretty proud here. Looking at the focus group, you said they're getting very critical of the work when they tested the apps out themselves. These two schools were in the game creation portion, and I think they struggled a little bit last time. And to see them turn it around with, feedback quality, action on feedback, presentation was great too. And you got all the boxes checked. You're feeling pretty good about their sim side too.
Yeah, that's what you want to be in. Their teams are trying their best. These project teams are trying their best. If there's anything I hear from project manager, they simply want everyone feedback all in to be able to simply get that cycle of success going forward, especially for projects that have to really survive on human effort, because nothing about this is really automated to this moment. So good job overall, and I can't wait to see what we're going to be looking at going into the postseason. There's so many, I guess, kind of little nuances. We're going to have so much seeding, the bracket. It's going to be really, it's going to be pretty rough. Single elimination is pretty do or die coming up soon.
Yeah, it's do or die time for sure. And not just in Rocket League, too. We have Valorant and Smash Brothers as well that'll be happening all dwindling down towards the end of the season, aka who is going to make it, who hasn't. They might already have their answers on that side. For Rocket League, we are just missing those few portions. But we thank you again for joining us here at the CMS Esports League, and we appreciate you coming through and hanging out with us for a majority of the stream if you have. And we'll see you in a couple weeks with the play-in matches, and then eventually at the CMS Esports LAN. Can't wait for it, and we'll see you there. Good night.